What up, Chicago Bears fans? I'm Dustin Jones. That's Brandon DePlacy. This is the Bare Minimum brought to you by 4 Star Chicago Sports. We got a lot to get into tonight. Going to be a late night with us. Hopefully, y'all are here to stick around. We're going to talk about this Bears Vikings game coming up on Sunday, obviously. We're going to talk about Caleb Williams, his growth, his expectations, the growth and expectations for this team, because those two things are tied together. And really just have we had a Loveland Love Fest last week. We're gonna have a Caleb Love Fest this week. I think he's due. And then whatever the hell else y'all want to talk about, man. It's gonna be a fun time. Thanks for being here. Let's go.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars align. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
Vizzo Joe, what up, bro? Thank you for being here. Shannon is already here as well. Yo, thank you for being here, bro. He's been loyal since he jumped on with us. Glad to have you, Shannon. You guys got questions? You guys got thoughts? Please throw them in. The less we have to come up with, the better. So if y'all got some shit, please throw it out there. Brandon, what's up, man? How you doing?
The less content we create, the better the content is.
Yeah.
I'm
We like to
all right.
improvise. We like to go off the cuff a little bit. What? You're good?
Doing all right.
Doing all right. You watched that game tonight?
As much as I could stomach, dude. That is
Fields was putting on a clinic.
I feel so sorry for the kid, man. I do.
That's my main thing, bro. I want
But
to get
it's
into
like-
that a little bit.
He's just not good.
But
And
like
his
the Jets paid
attitude-
him like he's a starting quarterback, and they keep rolling him out there like he's a
And his
starting
attitude-
quarterback.
His attitude has changed, man, and not for the better. Like, anytime something went wrong, anything he was responsible for directly, he like rolled his eyes at, and it's like, I mean, he
Well-
missed a flat, like 5 yards out, and Mitchell had completely separated from his DB. He missed it like 4 yards off, and he looks at Mitchell, looks like kind of up at this guy, and just does like a big sigh with an eye roll, and it's like, I mean, dude.
Well, Mitchell had some drops too, man.
Oh yeah, this was
Jets
before.
are dysfunctional.
This was the second drive before Mitchell had dropped any of the passes, but like Fields just looked like somebody else was to blame. It's just like, that's maybe why you're not getting better, man. You know?
I mean, maybe he's just kind of capped out in terms of his abilities to play quarterback. I think that's really what it is. I don't want to guess on if he's trying or not, man, but like he's just clearly doesn't have it.
I think he doesn't believe that he's responsible for the failings of the teams he's played on. That's what I think. I think
Well, he's certainly responsible for
he's
the
bought
failures
into
of
the
himself.
excuses that people made for him. Like, oh, the Bears failed him. And now he has this I've been failed by everybody mentality. That's what I think he's developed. And it doesn't bode well for a person that needs to get better. But it's just remarkable, man. I mean, there was a moment, Dustin, where
John?
me and I both believed that Fields could be special. I did. And to see what he is, it's just like, how did he fall so hard? And I don't know that I've seen a worse quarterback in my entire life at this juncture now, man. 4 games of less than 60 yards in one season, first time since 2000, and he hasn't even played half the year yet.
Oh yeah, it's gonna
This guy is gonna break records for being historically the worst passer in the NFL.
It's gonna get worse before it gets worser for Justin Fields, man.
And I don't think Aaron Glenn's a good coach, man.
Listen, Glenn, it remains to be seen. I think we've had enough sample size of Fields, and that's kind of what I think about, man. Like the Jets knew who Fields was when they went after him this offseason. They moved on from Aaron Rodgers. They made a bad choice. You've seen some teams make some weird choices with quarterbacks in this offseason. And that was the worst one. They paid him 30 million guaranteed as if he was a starting quarterback, and they built their team around expecting him to be that. And I think that's what's unfair. That expectation and that money being placed behind Justin Fields at this point after what he's shown, that's unfair to him. To be honest, like you can't keep rolling him out there. You can't keep throwing him out there to be the starter. Like
Well,
he's not there, man. He can't complete the passes. He can't run an offense. When he takes off, he's still dangerous. And I mean, I guess that's better than what you have, but how long are they going to subject him to this and subject themselves to this? Like it obviously is not working, and I don't believe it's ever going to work. It's unfortunate for him. He has fallen hard, but I don't think this is just out of, I mean, we've seen this just gradually
well, and
be what it is. He's gonna be who he is. He's not
it's
getting better than this.
it's
He's
time
he'll
for
only
the
get worse.
people who defended him for all these years, man, to just kind of
Thanks,
fork it
Shorty.
out.
Thank you for being here, brother. Good
What's
to see
going
you.
on, Shorty? It's
Shorty.
time. It's time to move on. Like this guy is not a quarterback.
Yeah, but
Nobody
they
can
paid him.
defend him. You
They
can't
already paid
defend
him.
him anymore. You can't say this team failed him or that guy. He didn't have this receiver or that offensive line. He's been on 3 teams now. He's egregious. He doesn't move the chains unless he's running. This guy does not belong, at least not at that position in the NFL.
Yeah, no, it would a
I don't
position
even want him as my
make
backup.
the sense.
Like that's
No,
where
no,
he's
yeah, for sure. And I don't want to beat that to death, man. I think
yeah.
we've
But I
known
do
as
want to talk
Bears fans,
about
we've known what Fields is, man. The Jets obviously needed to figure it out for themselves,
yeah, and
and it's
Aaron Glenn,
unfortunate to
man.
see it playing out. To be
I
honest,
really liked Aaron Glenn. And at the end of that game, when the Jets actually, I don't know if you were watching, man, with like 4 minutes left, they actually had a chance. If they
I
had
was
gotten
watching a part of that drive. Yeah,
if they had gotten in the end zone quickly, and they would have had time with 3 timeouts and the 2 minute warning to probably get the ball back.
yeah.
But Aaron Glenn, there was no urgency. And I'm like, you're looking at this head coach, like, did
I
you
don't
throw
know.
in the did you
I don't
throw in
think.
the towel?
No. Glenn was saying, "Hurry the fuck up" on the
No,
sideline.
yeah, no, they
Yeah.
cut to a man and he was doing like but it's like, dude, you shouldn't be
No, he
yelling at
literally
your,
did this.
yeah,
I
you
it's
can't be, dude, you have to have that locked up before the
that's
game starts, man.
I don't I think that's Justin Fields, man, and I think that's this offense in
No,
general.
yeah,
They're
it was
stagnant.
the whole team. They just
Yeah.
kind of
They're but I mean
complacently
when
walked.
well, and you talked about Fields' attitude throughout the game, the way it appeared, like that showed on that drive as well. I just I don't think that there's a sense of urgency with that team. I think Glenn has a lot of work to do. The one good thing for the Jets and Aaron Glenn is that he's going to get another year, and they got a shit ton of draft picks over these next 2 years with the moves that they made. Those were the smartest things they could have done.
Yeah, and
So they'll
I'll
be
be
able to
with you.
dig themselves out of this potentially. And I think Glenn can
And I don't
still end
think,
up showing himself to be a decent NFL head coach. I think.
well, and you can be a team like the Cowboys who lose a Micah Parsons and are immediately feeling the impact of that, right? They have no pass rush. The defense is terrible. The secondary has to cover guys for like a life, an eternity, because they have no pad. They have no Micah Parsons. I don't even think what the Jets lost to acquire those picks is all that remarkable to the future of their franchise, man. I really don't.
Oh, this comment right here,
Like
Vizzo.
Sauce and Quinn and Will, like
I mean,
I'm good.
Sauce is
You're
a good player.
yeah,
Quentin
but
Williams
you're
is a
good.
good player,
You're
but
good without that.
they got way more than they should have gotten for those guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a no brainer for them. But those are both very good players, man. Those are Pro Bowl players. This comment here, Vizzo, I can't agree with you on that. Poles never got enough credit for moving on from Fields. I don't think Poles got enough for blame for how he moved on from Fields, for how long it took, and for how little he got back, considering what I mean, Mac Jones went for more than him. Like at the
Well,
end of the day, like he also sent him to a favorable position for Justin Fields, which was nice and all, but your job is to do
if you
what's best for the fucking football team, not for that player that you're sending away. I didn't like the way he moved on. I like that it happened and it needed to happen, but I don't really give much credit for the way it went down, to be honest. Just that's
no, I mean
Shorty says he agrees with him. I don't agree
it
with
took a
either of
lot of
them.
balls. It took a lot of balls. The city loved that kid. They still do to this day. That's why we're even
I
having this conversation.
took a lot of common sense, is what it
But
took, Brandon.
I think that was the biggest slap in the face that Ryan Poles ever, that any GM for a Chicago Bears team ever presented to us as fans. You took less capital because
Yeah,
that was
that
one of
that
the
rubbed me
worst
the wrong way
decisions
for
in
sure.
Ryan. That
Yeah.
was one of the worst handlings of a decision Ryan Poles ever made in his career. But I do want to say, while we got Ryan Poles up, man, just because I don't have a whole lot. I just this can be brief. if you're looking at this season, okay, you've got, you know, the obviously Ben Johnson looks to be the real deal. So kudos
Yeah,
already there.
he is.
You know, Ryan Poles, you got that going in motion. But you had a couple of weeks ago, you had a game where Kyle Monangai and Colson Loveland won you a football game. Those are guys that Ben and Ryan now drafted together. You had your first overall pick from the year prior that was all Ryan Poles just win you a game on Sunday. You've band-aided this team at
Band-aided. Brandon just made up a word. Band-aided.
at 1/16th of the cost that everybody else is right now, with Gardner Johnson and Moody, who won you a game as well. Gardner Johnson, since he's been signed, leads your team in sacks, something you weren't
Something
doing well.
notorious.
I mean, if you look at what Ryan Poles has done just this season alone, and I'm not talking about like what he did in the offseason leading up to it, because the offensive line, Dustin, we're going to dive into, but in season, Ryan Poles has been fucking phenomenal, man.
I mean, it's a couple of moves, and
I'm
they were the
looking
right.
back now and just thinking like this guy has done what's required to continue to win football games. That's what he's done.
He's
Nothing
done.
more, nothing less.
He's done what he could do, Brandon. I mean, CJ Gardner Johnson was kind of a no-brainer considering the relationship with Dennis Allen, and I'm sure Dennis Allen was the guy who was like, "Let's go get this guy. I need something to keep this defense somewhat, respectable."
That might be, man, but
and that made sense. No, for sure. I mean, but again, I think the offseason is where Poles really made his bones this year. I mean, at the end of the day, the Moody pickup was a strong one. And the CJ Gardner Johnson one has shown to be a strong
the Moody
one.
pickup will show its face again.
The way they've maneuvered the roster and carried guys through with injured reserve. I mean, they took a while to get Austin Booker up, but you're seeing him start to fucking take off now, which is great. And that was a trade back into the 5th round to get Austin Booker after they drafted Torrey Taylor last year's draft. And so, I mean, like, I think if you look at what this team is right now, a big part of it is Ryan Poles, and that's the way it should be. And he should get credit for what he's done. And if you want to get into the other things later, then that's fine. I mean, I feel like we're talking about.
I had to say, I would just say, I'm impressed with Ryan Poles so far in this season.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Ryan Poles this entire offseason. Ryan Poles is should be feeling himself right now in terms of the 2025 that he has had up to this point.
Yeah, still a very split fan base, kind of like Caleb with Ryan Poles. A lot of people dislike him.
Well, I mean, the problem.
I think if you're doing the "What have you done for me lately," he's doing a pretty damn good job, man.
Yeah, he's on a damn good streak, dude. I mean, let's just get into it now, man. This offensive line is one of the best offensive lines in football, and it was one of the worst just last year. The moves that were made in order to impact this offensive line cannot be overlooked. That's the biggest thing that he did besides hire Ben Johnson in this offseason.
Do you know how many highlights?
You've completely flipped your interior offensive line, and it's been paying major dividends. You put a real offensive line in front of your real quarterback. That's fucking huge, man.
Yeah, and you know how many highlight blocks I've seen from every one of these guys scrolling through social media? I mean, Jonah Jackson's had a pancake. Darnell Wright's kicking ass over there. Drew Dolman had a phenomenal game on Sunday. I mean, yeah, I mean, and I'll say this, Dustin, you sent me a text. I didn't know the extent of it, but Caleb Williams is the most elusive player in the NFL right now. And
yeah, and you combine that with this offensive line performing in pass protection, the way they have, and performing in run blocking. And Shannon says, I wouldn't say we got the best O-line. I said it's one of the best O-lines in football, and it was one of your biggest weaknesses.
It's funny to say. It's funny to say that now because they just were the number one line. Against
in week 10 against in pass protection,
one of the best pass rushes in the NFL.
Yeah, that Giants defensive line is one of the best defensive lines in football. Yeah,
they have the league leader.
It's the strength of that team. Yeah. Brian Burns and everybody.
The league leader.
Yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter. I mean, Lawrence. The Bears were number 1 in pass protection rankings according to this graphic. And I mean, you consider the fact that they're able to run the ball as well as they have been. That you couldn't do this last year with what you had out there. You couldn't. So that change happening that quickly, just in one off season, deserves major props, and it's a major reason that Caleb is finding success, and it's a major reason that this run game has been the best in the league since the bye. That
Well,
it's a
guys,
major
and
reason.
if you're watching the way the NFL is trending every year, there's no way Dustin Caleb survives another 60 plus sacks. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, no way.
He's not
And the
he's
number
he's
at this
not gonna
point is cut in
make it.
half.
Yeah, he's not gonna make it out of a season if he's sacked anywhere near the amount he was last year. No player. He's a big guy and he's tough, but nobody can take that. But yeah, man. I mean, I think they've allowed 14 sacks, and some of them were still Caleb. So this offensive line is realistically probably allowed like 10. This is a line that you can say
Caleb
they're
is
not the
responsible
best.
for 16% of the pressure that he's faced
You can say
this
they're
season.
not the best line in the league, but man, from being the worst, I don't think you could ask for much
You
more.
can't overstate
Yeah. If you
the
go
amount
from,
that
do you
has
know how
impacted
often
this
a
offense.
unit goes from 32nd in the league to a top 5 unit? And
It's rare. Yeah, I
eh,
mean, I don't have a number
well,
on it, but it's
and
not
good
something
for
that happens
Bleacher
often.
Report for calling it the most improved unit in sports or in football because it actually is. If you consider rankings, it is the most improved unit from one year to the next.
Yeah, and Shannon, he avoids the sacks, but again, the pressure is not coming from any place in particular besides the left tackle. The left tackle is about 34% of the pressure that Caleb is seeing right now, and everybody
Yep.
else is in a pretty
And
damn respectable spot, which is kind of what we expected this left tackle position to be the weakness of this offensive line, and
Yep.
Caleb has to overcome that. Yeah.
And there has every player except for the left tackle this season has had at least one game where they allowed 0 hits, hurries, pressures, or sacks. All 4 of the guys on the right side of the line have had at least one game in which they did that, which again,
Well,
man, I mean, from what you had last year, that isn't I mean, Jonah Jackson is playing at all pro level in the last 2 weeks, man.
he's been kicking ass,
It's
and the
fun.
level of competition needs to be considered, and you would want to consider that. But at the end of the day, this team is starting to
He got a
gel at the right
face full
time.
of Dexter Lawrence last week, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in terms of the teams that they're playing, in terms of overall level of competition, but yeah, that is an impressive stat that they were number one in pass protection against that pass rushing unit. That is an
And he
impressive stat. I
allowed
don't care what the Giants' record is. That
and
front
Jonah
seven
Jackson
is strong.
Jonah Jackson allowed 0 pressures, hurries, hits, and sacks.
Yep. Jed says nearly everything on the team this year feels improved. I know defense is struggling hard, but when we have to have a stop, they come through. That didn't happen last year. Yeah, situationally, the defense has been very strong.
Well,
Overall,
they're
they've been
just back to that.
terrible, but yeah,
They're just
I
doing that
agree.
thing
A
they
lot
did.
of improvement on this team.
They're doing what they did in 2018, man.
Yeah, Cliff.
They're just taking the ball away. This team's up to over 20 takeaways in the season right now, I think.
What up, Pilgrim?
They're doing this at a rate that is pretty astronomical, Dustin. I just keep continuing to assume that these takeaways are gonna stop at some point. This team's got a bunch of ball hawks on it, man.
Takeaways per game, 2.2 for the
Yeah,
Chicago
that's an
Bears.
astronomical
Number one in the
number.
league by a solid gap.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's been impressive. Their turnover margin is plus 1.6, man. Like that, it's a huge part of their
Yeah, and
success
they
up to
don't
this
turn the
point.
ball over
You hope
very
it's
much.
sustainable.
You don't see Caleb throwing picks. You don't see guys putting the ball on the floor. I mean, these guys also protect the ball just the same as they do take it away. So, I mean, that's a winning recipe, man.
Yep. Cliff says every week O-line will get better. History says so. I agree with you, Cliff. You see the improvement week to week. Even in Theo Benedette, whose pass protection is piss poor, according to True Pilgrim. I agree with you, man. It's been tough to watch. He's chasing his guy constantly. But in the run game, as you point out, he is very good. So if he can figure out the pass protection, maybe you got something there. I don't know that you can. I don't know that he can. I don't know that you do. As Cliff said earlier, you need a left tackle either way. The more they play together, the better they will be. Yeah, I think DJ Moore compared this team to Jello in his press conference in terms of the stages that they've gone through. Bears didn't beat the level of competition last year consistently. People overlooked that. Mina Kynes posted today, Bears offense are top 2 in big plays, and Vice give up the most big plays. And yeah, the Bears give up the second most. The Bears, in terms of deep balls, the Vikings and Bears are the only 2 teams that allow a 60% completion rate against on deep balls. So that's something to consider going into that game. We're going to talk about that more. But yeah, I saw what you're talking about, Bizzo. Real test is coming up. That's that divisional game. Bears have no divisional wins up to this point, 0-2. You can't go to 0-3, and we're going to talk about that too. I'd really want to discuss this Caleb Williams thing at this point, Brandon, because again, like I don't know if it's still just a loud minority in terms of what Caleb's doing and the credit he's getting for it, or and the blame he's getting for not, doing it the way I guess people want him to. I mean, I made a point to say on our show on Thursday, Brandon, because I've been thinking this way and feeling this way because I've had those thoughts about Caleb playing in structure and Caleb being on time and playing with anticipation and being that Ben Johnson guy. And then like you watch him play and you're like, yeah, fuck that. I just accept Caleb for who he is because what he does is fucking impressive. And there's not a lot of guys in the NFL that can do what he do. Just two or three, maybe max. Like, where are we at with Caleb Williams in terms of how we've seen him improve, what we think of his game, and will that continue to improve as this season goes on? Because I think he's been fucking phenomenal. I really do.
Well, two things. It's never what he does. It's always what he didn't do. After every game, that's what we talk about, Caleb, what he didn't do. For 3 quarters, he just couldn't. He couldn't play in timing. He couldn't play on time, or his passes weren't accurate. And it's like, yeah, but he did. He did win the game, and it's like, yeah, but I'd like to see it more clean. When did it become about more than winning football, man? And then this is my thing with Caleb. There's the claim that the growth isn't there, but I think the growth, Dustin, is what's caused the impatience. I think Caleb is growing to where this team is winning football games, and now the fans expect winning.
Give me more.
Yeah.
Yep. I made that same point, Brandon. I feel the exact same way. It's not just with Caleb, Brandon. It's with the team in general.
Yeah.
It's with the team because I don't know that there were high expectations for this team to be a playoff contending team. I know that there weren't. One of us 4 on our panel picked the Bears to go to the playoffs, and that was you, Brandon. I had them at 8 and 9. They're far ahead of my timeline.
Yeah, and I picked them at 9 and 8. Not a good playoff team.
Yeah, but what's happened is that because the Bears are finding ways to win these games, they are 6-3. They are coming up with improbable wins and showing a lot of grit and determination. Like it seems like that timeline, they're surpassing it right now. And it's like because of that, fans' expectations are growing to an unreasonable place in my mind with Caleb, with this team in general, Brandon. And I don't think that that's fair. I don't think that that's really keeping it in perspective because we all knew going into this was going to be a foundational year, a year to lay down the foundation and then start building on that.
And I'm not picking on anybody with expectations, man, but I want to say, people keep saying this, and it's not just Sean and Kyle. So guys, when you watch this tomorrow and roll it back, I've seen this all over the place. I keep reading that this team is going to lose to the Eagles. They're going to lose to the Packers and the Lions.
No shit.
If they play the way they're playing. And it's like, well, wait a second. We projected them to lose those.
Yeah, no shit. Those are the expectations.
And they're better than we expected them to be. But it doesn't mean that they're better than the best teams in the league. Yeah. Why would that have changed? Why would your projection about those football games? I said to Sean today, and I believe this, Dustin, firmly, Caleb could play a near flawless game of football against the Eagles, and the Bears could still lose because they're not better.
Yeah, and because of the team sport, Brandon.
The Eagles, top to bottom, inside and out, depth upon starters is loaded with talent. And you're just not there, man. And your defense is probably going to get torched by some of the teams you're going to play here in the future. So Caleb can play a good game of football and the Bears can lose. And it's not about, if they keep playing like this, they could lose. Guys, they could lose because they're missing talent. On top of the injuries that they've suffered this year, they didn't have enough to begin with. That's why we projected them to lose to the teams we did. And they don't have the talent now. Didn't change from before the season started.
Yeah, it's gotten a little worse in terms of these injuries and those things, right? And Jed's echoing your point right here. He says, I thought this team had too many missing pieces to look as good as they have. And then you take into account that they've been missing pieces of the pieces that they were already missing.
Jed,
they are way outperforming, and I'm seeing the discipline getting better.
And we're getting ahead, and fans are getting ahead of themselves, man. And like now it's like people are almost treating it like as if they're underachieving, which is
because
mind-blowing.
they are overachieving in the first
Yeah,
place.
it's so
That's really that.
strange.
It's a strange dynamic that's
Yeah,
going on with that. And Pilgrim points this out right here. And I was going to make this point, Brandon, we were talking about. He says, respectfully, I think you're mightily overrating the Eagles' talent. I mean, each game is its own entity, guys. But when you look at the Lions losing at home to the Vikings, when you look at the Packers playing a tie, playing the Cowboys to a tie, when you look at the way the Packers and the Eagles played on Monday night, that was a very boring game. Those defenses came to play, but each game becomes its own entity. And the way the Bears have been winning games, guys, I do not put it past them to where if they get into that type of back and forth grit, will, determination type of win, that they got what it takes to hang in there with a team like the Eagles, to hang in there with a team like the Packers on the road. Like you see the way these teams are playing. This has been a very up and down season for a lot of teams. I don't think there's anyone that really stands out as like that
I
legit
mean, I don't.
official talent,
I'm
right?
going to say
So it's
this,
like
Troop.
the
I
Bears
got to
could be in
respond to
any of
this.
those games, but
I'm going to say
all we're
this.
saying is that the expectations weren't to where they were going to be a contending team this year, guys.
True Pilgrim, I appreciate it. Like he said respectfully, but I mean, this team just won a Super Bowl, and I think they're what are they 8-2? I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, but
this is a talented football team.
in terms of how they perform, they haven't performed in the passing game as much. I
No,
mean,
actually,
Devon,
man, before they hit the bye, he was starting to roll because I have
yeah,
AJ Brown on my fantasy team, and he was starting to get in the 20-point range there, and then it fell off flat.
he's having a rough
Yeah,
season
he
overall,
got
right?
injured right as he started to open it
Saquon
up.
Barkley has been held to 60 yards or less multiple times this year. Like the running game is not going the way they wanted it to so far
Devontae
this year.
Smith's having a great year.
Their defense is fucking phenomenal, though,
No,
guys. I mean,
they're stacked, dude.
at the end of the day, the Eagles are the team to beat in the NFC, and comparing the Bears to them right now, it doesn't even seem fair to me because the Bears are still in the infancy stages of what they're trying to do to try to become a team like the Eagles, right? But at the end, but all I'm saying is I think that the fact that the Bears have defied those expectations, it's raised the expectations to a place, Pilgrim, that feels unreasonable. I I'm here like just like wow, they're outperforming what I expected. They're finding ways to win games that I thought that they were going to lose in the moment, right? And I'm just here enjoying the ride because it's just been fun. It's been fun to see them win these games. And yeah, it's been against teams that you would call cellar dwellers in the league or whatever. But that's what the Bears have been too, guys. You got to eventually find ways to win. You got to find ways to beat teams that you should be better than. And as Jed pointed out, they had not played above that level of competition. They didn't do it last year. So
No,
coaching
and
matters, the discipline matters, the execution matters, and the growth and improvement of your quarterback matters a shit ton in terms of how we are winning these games right now.
and well, yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Because there's so many
And the
things that
Chiefs, Jed, and
we
the
can talk
Chiefs.
about. A lot of things that Caleb has areas in which Caleb has visibly grown, where it's just obvious. I mean,
Yes.
sure,
Let's get into that.
there's areas of growth where he needs to do better, but I mean, there's areas where he is greatly improved, and we know that.
Where he has greatly improved the most to me, Brandon, is improving on his strengths that we knew he had already. In terms of how he's getting outside the pocket in these last couple of games and finding ways to make plays. Just earlier on in this season, in that first Vikings game, you saw Caleb flush in the pocket way too early, like he was seeing ghosts, right? Like he was hearing footsteps that weren't there, and he wasn't trusting his offensive line. He has seen his offensive line improve. Ben Johnson mentioned this in his presser as he sees the offensive line holding up on tape, and as he starts to grow more confidence in them, and as this offensive line gets better, he is hanging in there more. But he's also, when he was getting out of there on Sunday, Brandon, it was with intentionality and it was out of necessity. He wasn't running out of the pocket because that's just where he's comfortable. He ran out of the pocket because he had to make people miss and he had to make a play.
Yeah, he
That's
had hands all
important.
over him.
That's
Yeah.
hugely important. The amount of pressure he was under was immense, and he evaded all of it and made big plays when it mattered most. He
Yeah.
was not doing that just as early as this season. The growth is happening in the season. You
Yeah, and
can see it.
another area that I haven't really heard anybody talk. Oh, real quick, man. Well, I don't know how we might get back in that conversation we had before, but the Bears are beating teams that I think they're more talented than, and I still expect them to lose to teams that I believe are more talented than them, and that's why we projected them at 8 to 10 wins because that's where those teams typically finish. especially depending on their strength of schedule. But with Caleb, man, I also think that he's throwing. I mean, he's had multiple grounding calls this season because I think he's actually he's making a conscious effort to throw the ball away. Some
Yeah,
of the
he's
sacks,
being he's
some of
being
the
smart with
sacks
that
that
decision making
haven't,
too.
some of the sacks that have not occurred this year are because Caleb is just getting the ball out of his hands, even if it's just got to go into the stands. This was something we criticized him for. See, and Dustin, it's like that's something that's so common. Quarterbacks in the NFL typically gain that pretty quickly. Like, I need to get rid of the ball when I'm in trouble. And Caleb always wanted to make a play, so he held it. And he was so heavily criticized for holding the ball too long and getting sacked. And now that he's doing what every quarterback in the NFL does predominantly, throwing the ball away, nobody cares. It's like,
I notice it every time
but
he
it's
does it,
like,
Brandon.
yeah,
It's
it's a big deal.
I am excited because like last year he would have held that ball and took the sack, like you were saying, 100%,
Possibly got injured.
and that keeps you from having negative plays. That keeps you from having third and
Keeps it
longs.
healthy.
Shannon, Caleb has a 93.6 passer rating against the Vikings, 741 passing yards and 4 touchdowns in 3 games. So it's not they haven't been making him look bad. I think he had one of his better games last year against the Vikings. He had like over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in that last game against the Vikings. Caleb has found ways to perform against this Brian Flores defense. They really confused him in that first game for sure. And he right now Caleb is a different player than he was in week 1 against the Vikings in this season. That is important to note.
To concede that.
He's a better player today than he was just 2 months ago. Yeah. But Brian Flores D is crazy blitzing, and the reality is, in that first game, they did not blitz Caleb very much, which kind of threw them off because I think that's what they were expecting.
In the second half, they did, but in the first half, they didn't at all.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what Caleb improving? I mean, the completion percentage is still a problem, Brent. 61.5%.
No, it all is. The stuff,
and it's been below 60 in like 5 games so far this season.
Right? So the stuff that people are criticizing is fairly criticized. It needs to get better, but not at the rate in which people expected it to. Needs to stay on course. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, where did you expect Caleb to be at this point in the season? You thought he'd be, a 70% completion with 32 touchdowns and 3,800 yards. Where did you expect Caleb to be? Look at his numbers. He's right where you would actually probably have projected him at this point in the season.
Ben Johnson said in his presser yesterday, I think he's right on track with where we hoped we would see him at midseason right now. He's right on track.
He's on pace for like 28 touchdowns and 4,000
yards. Your head coach
yards.
thinks he's doing just fine, And
I mean, I keep saying that. The only guy who doesn't seem to be worried about Caleb Williams' growth is the guy who's trying to help him grow. So, like, that should say something. Ben continuously, have you noticed this? He's almost doing it intentionally now because he's getting tired of the questions. He is very much preaching as publicly as he can to stop worrying about Caleb. You know what I mean? He's like relaying this message as much as possible. Like, he keeps doing this. When people go, do you think that Caleb's behind?
He's like, oh, geez.
Yeah, he always leads the answer with like this.
I don't know.
Like, guys, I mean, this is where we expected us to. I mean, it's always just like, like, you beat me to death with this stuff. And I just don't think if your head coach is showing you that little concern, you know what I mean? He's that lackadaisical about the subject. It should make you feel at ease.
Well, I don't know that he's lackadaisical. They're definitely working on the things that need to be fixed. And he talked about that too. What did he say? He said this. I got it written down here. Ben Johnson said in his presser yesterday, you don't want to take away that natural instinct he has. But if you stay in here, I think it unlocks even more of your game. Like him talking to Caleb. Like that's what he's saying to Caleb when they're watching the film. If you hold that ball just a little longer and stay in the pocket instead of running out, there's more explosive plays to be had. That's what Ben Johnson is saying to Caleb Williams. And that's Ben Johnson's job, to coach what needs to be coached into Caleb Williams to where he improves and unlocks the next level of his game. I didn't expect that to be happening right now. And I don't think anybody should have, to be honest. It's his first year in this offense. What he is doing is coming up big when it matters and using that natural instinct and that talent that he has to win games for the Bears that they probably shouldn't have won. And that matters. Caleb's ability in the clutch, Caleb's ability when trailing, that matters big time, man. And you have to give credit for that. And you have to give him his due. And you have to understand that this is all a part of the process. You can't coach Ben Johnson, to what you're saying, Brandon, consistently says, I don't want to coach his natural shit out of him. He needs that. And Ben Johnson said, it makes me feel like I'm the best coach in America when he sees Caleb making one of his plays that doesn't work turn into something that works because of his natural ability. So if you coach that out of him, now you're losing a big element that's going to make you dangerous, the most dangerous offense in the NFL. Ben Johnson wants the primary receiver open quick, and he wants the quarterback to get the ball out, right? Now, that doesn't always happen. And he said this in his presser as well. That first or second guy might not get open. So then Caleb can then take that play that is broken, that Jared Goff is not going to make a play out of, and turn it into something, right? So if you can find the balance between what Ben Johnson wants, which is that primary read or that second read, and Caleb's improvisational abilities, you can become the most dangerous offense in the NFL, Brandon. That's what Ben Johnson is envisioning, I believe. Like, I'm not going to take this away from him, because when you add that to what my offense is in structure and combine those two things, nobody can fucking stop this. That's what I believe.
Well, and again, in the time frame too, man. I mean, because you can't look at Jared Goff's tenure with Ben Johnson. You can't look at those first 6 weeks in which Ben Johnson took over play calling and think this is the duration it took for Jared Goff to become an extension of Ben Johnson's mind. That's just not the case. Ben Johnson was coaching Jared Goff before Ben Johnson became the play caller. It took these guys time to understand one another. It took these guys time and we talk about this all the time, Dustin, over the offseason, you and I, that relationship that you're trying to develop between coach and quarterback, where they're spending almost every waking moment with each other, but because they have to be so familiar with one another that if, let's say, the mic stops working on field, Caleb needs to basically kind of know what Ben Johnson will coach without Ben Johnson coaching. That's the idea. The extension of your play caller's mind. And this is not a process that takes 8 weeks, man. This is a process that could be, if you're talking about
That's years.
you're talking about the not as tight, the marriage that will be Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams. Yeah, 2-3 years down the road, man, is when you're talking about like the complete final product. You know what I mean?
And I don't know that it's ever a final product, Brandon.
No,
right?
I don't think Ben wants it to be.
No, because
He
what are you
wants to
working
always
for?
be getting better. You know what I mean? There is no final product because you can always fine tune. So
I firmly believe, and we've said it before, like the best horses are the ones that are hardest to tame, right? And sometimes you don't always get there. But if Ben Johnson can harness what Caleb is able to do just naturally, that he does on instinct, and add that to his offense that is about structure and timing and ball placement, and no matter what the defense does, you can find a way to make a play against them. The sky is the fucking limit, man. And the reality is, we haven't talked about two things yet when it comes to Caleb. The first thing is his abilities when he's trailing. The guy, when he's trailing this season, 72.3% adjusted completion rate, 1,306 total yards, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Captain Clutch, when he's trailing, those are his stats.
Numbers are incredible.
2 interceptions, 2 of his 4.
Trailing,
you're desperate. You're trying to make a play. You got to keep the chains moving, right? Yeah. You got to score a touchdown. And we haven't talked about that yet. So let's put that into the conversation. And also let's put this into the conversation. Caleb is using his legs much more decisively this season. Caleb is scrambling smartly and quickly. He's making quick decisions with it. And he doesn't have designed runs. He's not that quarterback. He is making those runs out of nothing because the defense has accounted for everything down the field, and he is taking advantage of a weakness in the defense that we said, that's another dimension to this offense that Ben Johnson could never have in Detroit with Jared Goff, obviously, right? This adds a whole nother wrinkle to Ben Johnson offense and makes defenses that much more scared of this offense.
I was just going to say he's running effectively enough now he's beginning to keep defenses very honest, which is going to benefit Caleb in the passing game big time at some point, Dustin. Caleb's ability to run the football is only going to benefit Caleb. he's going to be able to sit in that pocket and start to pick people apart, especially when they play in zone. After he starts to take off like he did on that game, if he was running the way he did in that game in the fourth quarter, Dustin, in the first quarter, passing would have been a lot easier for him the rest of that game. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Once you give that, once you put that idea in the head of a defense and they're on their heels because they're like, ah, shit, this guy can actually move, man. Like you're
Th-
able to do a whole lot more with,
think
and
about
then
this, Brandon.
even the running backs benefit from it too, man.
Yeah, and think about this: 48 carries for 246 yards on the season, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 5.1 yards per carry. He had 2 games where he had -2 yards rushing. I mean, the legs as another dimension added to this offense, done in smart spots, just it's going to give defense fits. And you saw it against the Bengals on that last drive. That I keep going back to that scramble that he had before the pass to Colston Loveland.
Yep.
That was the second biggest play in that game. Caleb made it with his legs. Caleb made 2 huge plays with his legs in that Giants game when the game was on the line. And Caleb is just kind of figuring out, like,
Well,
I just gotta be me and do what makes sense in the moment and just make a decision and go. And if it's run, if it's throw, if it's run out the pocket and then throw, whatever needs to be done, I'm gonna get it done. And it's showing to have results. And defenses don't know what to do with it. You can't coach that shit. Ben Johnson makes a joke about I'm the best coach in America because he has nothing to do with that. That is just Caleb Williams being Caleb Williams.
And
so I get wanting to get him involved into the offense and understand it the way Ben Johnson does. That's not happening in year one, as you just said, Brandon. So you got to let this kid go a little bit. But as he starts to grow into that structure, into that timing, he's going to be the most fucking unstoppable quarterback in the NFL, in my mind.
There's no merit to this, man, but I do firmly believe this.
He hasn't arrived, Shannon. He hasn't arrived. That's not what we're saying.
If Caleb Williams was playing, not like Tom Brady, but let's say the guy was playing, above average. He's playing really good football and timing, anticipation, structure, all this, staying in the pocket. Okay. That this whole season he was doing a really good job at that aspect of the position. But you completely, let's say you take that other aspect, the hero, the will, the drive, to just do whatever it takes, move the chains and win the game. So you take that element away. So you take that element away from Caleb, and you give him the structure and the anticipation and timing, and you take away the hero ball element. I don't think the Bears are 6-3.
Fuck no, they're not. No, they're not.
So while he's learning this structure stuff, guys, that everybody wants to see from him, that we need to see a clean game out of Caleb. While he's learning that stuff, just appreciate what this guy's been doing his whole life, that it's winning you football games. The thing that Caleb has relied on his entire career, the thing that Ben Johnson is trying to not eliminate, but definitely limit.
Harness.
Yes. Is the thing that is currently carrying this football team across the finish line, man. And I mean that most literally. In the fourth quarter, it has been Caleb default back to that old.
I got some more
USC days, man.
Listen, this is from Jason Leisure. I saw it on X, but I pilfered it. Last 5 minutes, completion percentage 65.2, 10th in the league, 60.4 the rest of the game. Yards per pass, 11.5. That's first in the league in the last 5 minutes. 6.9 the rest of the game. Touchdowns, 3 in the last 5 minutes. Second in the league. He's got 10 otherwise. Interceptions, 0 in the last 5 minutes of a game. Now, we said he had the 2 interceptions when trailing, but 0 in the last 5 minutes of any game. 4 otherwise. Passer rating 143.8, Brandon, in the last 5 minutes of a game. Otherwise, 87.5. His rush yards for a QB are first in the league at 83. He did a good chunk of that in that Giants game. Otherwise, he's got 163 and the 1 rushing touchdown, which is second. So, like, it's just unbelievable what this guy can do in the last 5 minutes. And this is the point I want to make with showing this graphic, Brandon. If you trust Ben Johnson and you listen to what he says, and he consistently says, I am not trying to coach Caleb Williams to be something he is not. He consistently says that. Listen to your coach when he says that. But if you see what Ben Johnson is doing with Caleb Williams up to this point, the improvement that he's making, and do you really live in a world where you think Ben Johnson isn't going to find a way to harness what Caleb does in those last 5 minutes and start extrapolating that and spreading it out towards the rest of the game? because I firmly believe, Brandon, that Ben Johnson will find a way to figure out what makes Caleb so special in those last 5 minutes and spread it out throughout the entire game. I firmly believe that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's becoming the
He's a smart dude. He's going to
it's
figure it out.
becoming the talk of the town. That's why I thought it was important because it's fun in games, but it's important to me that I put that on the thumbnail, man. Him and the Iceman, the outfit from Top Gun, because this is the narrative in this city right now. Is this
Did
kid,
you
and
do
he
the
did-
Top Gun thing, or
he-
or was that just like out there in the
no, I
ether?
made that. I
Yeah, you
thought
can tell it's a little choppy, but like it looks good. I like
you
it.
can't make it perfect. Yeah, it's supposed to be a little bit
Good
of
job,
comedic
Brandon.
relief there,
I
but
appreciate your efforts, Brandon.
yeah, but
Coming through in the clutch.
it's
Iceman.
it's becoming the talk of the town, even in the
Yes,
NFL.
they are. True.
Not even just Chicago does, but like across the entire league. That this kid, like Packers fans, were talking about it in a group that I'm in, an NFC North group. When the game is on the line, this kid, it's like he's been doing this for 100 years. He has no nerves. He makes really smart decisions. He doesn't panic. He leads the team. When you get the after the game, when you get the mic'd up stuff, the huddle stuff, I mean, he's just like straight business, and he's clearly a fucking captain, dude. And
That's another aspect that we haven't talked
just
about.
like
Brandon.
so awesome to see that you have a quarterback, dude.
And you remember him saying that to Shane Waldron last year, right? Or it was one of the coaches. Maybe it was the other guy that took over, one of the 5 offensive coordinators and Coach Caleb Williams last year. I can't remember his fucking name.
Yeah.
But he said to him, "I don't get nervous." And we were all like, "I wonder if that's true, Caleb. It seems a little cocky,
I don't
a
get
little
nerves.
arrogant."
That's what he said. I
That's
don't
what he
get
said.
nerves.
That's what he said. And like he's showing that, bro. But the thing that you just said that is another thing I wanted to touch on when it comes to Caleb Williams, and it doesn't get talked about anywhere near enough by Bears fans, by national media, by anyone who's covering anything about the Bears. Caleb is the unquestioned leader of this football team. On the offensive side of the ball, these guys believe in him. They believe in his talents. They believe that he's going to win the game when he has the ball in his hands, just like people in this chat have been saying. And that you can't measure that. That's not a statistic, right? But that intangible, that guy, that quarterback being the unquestioned leader of your team is hugely important to the growth and progression of your football team, to the growth and progression of Caleb Williams. These guys trust him. Ben Johnson trusts him. Everyone was looking to him, Brandon, and he was the guy saying, like you said, "We got this. Let's go out. The offensive line is going to knock them off the ball. You guys are going to catch the ball. Everybody do their fucking jobs, and let's go get this dub." And that's what Caleb Williams has been for this team all season, and he gets nowhere near enough credit for it. He's been a true professional, and he's the unquestioned leader of this team.
And I think, we talk about how ugly it's been when this team's winning football games, but then you present those numbers where Caleb's the first and everything, which is very rare, man. Very rare. That's why this is important as well. Quarterbacks almost always play their worst football when the pressure mounts, and that it's a natural quality. It's natural. It's very unnatural to do what Caleb Williams does. It's not normal to be at your best when the pressure's mounted at its most. And I think, you can find the irony here. You can find you can find the irony being a fan.
Just disagreeing just to disagree.
You can find the irony being just a fan in this city alone, because if you look at the last guy, and I hate to keep doing this, man, but it's important to note, you watch a guy like Justin Fields, who, remember some of the games he had in Chicago, and this was my biggest harp on him, Dustin. You know that early in his career.
He was at his worst in the last 2 minutes of the second half,
and remember,
the first half and the second half. Yes.
He threw 350 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Denver Broncos in quarters 1 through 3. He fumbled and threw an interception in the fourth quarter. The Bears lost that football game. Mm-hmm. So you see the difference in what Caleb does versus you can play 3 great quarters of football, but when the game is on the line, if you're not playing good football, it doesn't fucking matter. And you can see this team is 6-3 because Caleb does play the football that people want him to play consistently. At least
when it matters most.
He's doing it when it counts, man.
Yeah.
He's not like playing his best football in the first quarter and then falling off completely for the remainder of the game. He's turning it on when he smells an opportunity to win. And that is another thing you just have to admire, man.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a thing, as you said, it's a thing you can't coach. It's a thing that just comes natural to Caleb. Yeah. It's important to note that, with what Jed's saying right here. Jed said this. He said, Caleb was accountable for 2 wins, basically, is what he's saying. And he said that's why he got pissed off early this week on our Monday show. Couldn't handle Sean complaining about exactly what won the game. And then he says, I get what he's saying, but we just saw every reason he went number 1, and we should be hyped for it. And I agree with you, Jed. And like I said, I think everyone wants more, because they're seeing so much come now that I think it's more than what we expected. And everybody wants more, right? So, okay, Jesus. So, but like keeping it in perspective is really important. And I gotta say, I get what Sean was saying as well, Jed, in terms of if Caleb improves
What
at
Sean
these
was saying was correct.
if Caleb improves, and I've been saying the same thing all
just don't be
season.
so frustrated over
If
it.
Caleb improves on these areas, then he goes to a next level. This offense then goes to a next level, and this team then goes to another level where they can compete with the best teams in football. But what's happening right now is this progressive growth. You know what I'm saying? And
Baby
the
steps.
point I made to you guys earlier today was that generally this team is usually in like, we're in reload mode. We're going to find a way to compete. I've very rarely seen a team. It's only happened once or twice, I think, maybe once, honestly, when you first drafted Urlacher and Tillman and all those guys, but where they're actually building something special, and you can see the intentionality and you can see all the pieces coming together. And I've never seen a quarterback that the Bears have drafted be as special as Caleb Williams and have this ceiling that he's working towards. So I think there's a big part of Chicago Bears fans, like, because we're a big market team and we're the Chicago Bears and we've sucked for so fucking long, and you just had to accept, mediocrity at best as a Chicago Bears fan for so long, where you want it all now. But like, Bears fans gotta appreciate this process too, because we've rarely seen it as Bears fans. We've rarely seen the team laying a foundation for something that looks like it's going to be really special. I didn't see that '86 team being built. I wasn't even fucking born yet when I wasn't even born yet when they won the Super Bowl. I'm seeing something right now that we saw with the Cubs, right? We saw with the Blackhawks as those guys were coming up, with the Bulls, with Derrick Rose and those teams as they started to get special, And Bears fans rarely get an opportunity at this. So I really think you should enjoy this moment as Bears fans, that like it's not going to be, a dominant team. But the Bears weren't planning to be that yet. This is just the first step towards that process. And it's been fun for me. It's been fun.
This is the first season with all these new pieces. And you're at this juncture of every season, Dustin, as a Bears fan, you're eliminated from the playoffs right now. At this point of the season, like, you're already done. Most of us stop watching the last 5-6 weeks of the year. It's like, well, it's over. We'll see. Hopefully something happens next year. But this team is figuring themselves out, and they're still in the hunt. And they're keeping you entertained, and they're keeping your hopes alive, and they're keeping their own hopes alive. But in regards to, I think a lot of,
but it's not a Super Bowl team, guys.
Let me give fans perspective here on, at least maybe those will help you gain your patience with Caleb again. Caleb, if you believe that Caleb is the thing that's holding this team back from competing with the top dogs in this league, you are incorrect. This team has a lot of problems. Caleb Williams could play. I said this earlier in the show. Caleb could play close to flawless, and this team could still fork a game, because this team is allowing just under 28 points per game. I mean, this team is
28th in the league.
They have major issues across the board. And do not think for 1 minute that Caleb Williams' inability to grow faster is what's holding this team back from taking its next step. Because Caleb can go out there and put 38 points on the fucking board, and the Bears have shown you they can choke that away. No problem. They can do it in less than 2 minutes. They've shown you that.
Less than a minute, Brandon. It was 49 seconds.
This team has problems across the board. And sure, if Caleb grows, it gives them more opportunity to win more games, but they might still dump games, guys, just on this sole fact alone that they don't have the talent on the defensive
Razzle,
side.
Razzle,
I
we're in
don't.
here preaching patience. We're in here preaching patience and
That's what my whole
appreciating
message just was.
what's happening right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this has
saw the
been a
super.
good vibe show, Reza. We're
Yeah, I
all
saw the
positive
super.
here, man.
But yeah, we are young. I mean, I'm not as young as I would like to be, but I'm enjoying life and not. I'm just trying to appreciate the moment, just like I am with this Bears team, man. Um, I don't think we're impatient. I think we have a good understanding of what this team
Well,
is
what do you think
supposed to
about
be
this,
versus
Dustin?
what it has been.
What do you
What
think? There are many fans who think Caleb's growth timeline is holding this team back.
No,
I
I would
just don't
say
think
that
that's the case.
this was the thought I was going to get to before I saw Razzle's comment. I would say that if you think Caleb is the thing that's holding this team back, he's also the thing that's keeping
Winning
this team
football games.
afloat. He's also a big part of the reason this team is 6-3 right now and has a chance to be
But
7-3
but there is the
after their
implication
first
that they're
divisional win.
that the way he's playing will only beat bad football teams. But I think the Bears are a team
That's
that
a
will only,
drastic overstatement.
and I think the
Yeah,
Bears, the same as we thought before the season started, the Bears are just a team that will beat bad teams and lose to good ones. I think that's where they fall in terms of rankings in regards to talent, Dustin. I think they're plenty talented, more talented than plenty of the teams in the NFL, but they're also still not able to hang with some of these big dogs, man. That's just where the Bears are.
yeah, and like whatever. Listen, they got the Vikings this week.
Who they can beat.
I've been saying for over a month they're going to be 8-3 going into that Philly game. I firmly believe that. I thought they were going to beat the Steelers all off season and all season. I don't. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the Steelers. And if I'm the Bears, I'm not either. You get them at home. So you're 8-3 going into Philly. I do not put it past this team because what we are seeing, Brandon, for sure, is that this team is getting better every week to me in terms of the situational defense, in terms of the offense coming up with the big plays when they need it, in terms of
Penalties,
eliminating the penalties, in terms of the offensive line gelling and getting more cohesive as each week goes on, in terms
the
of different
running
weapons
game,
stepping up. I saw Vizzo say earlier, I think Luther Burden's going to go off. I am with you, Vizzo. I think Luther Burden
Monungai.
is going to go off on Sunday. He's just going to continue to get more involved in this offense. Colston Loveland getting more involved in this offense. I'm getting my Colston Loveland shirt delivered tomorrow with the touchdown catch against the Bengals. I'm excited for that. This team is just getting better every week. So I do not put it past them to be able to compete with a team like the Eagles on Black Friday. But like if they don't, whenever they give me, Brandon, I guess was my point. Like I'm gonna be okay with it because my expectations are not for them to beat the Eagles. So if they're competitive in that game and they hang with them, now I mean I'm feeling a lot better going into that next week. I just am because as much as you can talk about the Eagles not underperforming in terms of their expectations, that's still the team to beat in the NFC. And if the Bears can come out and just hang with them, I'm going to be excited. My whole attitude for this season is I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the ride with Caleb Williams. I'm here for the ride with Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears team. I'll take the ups and the downs. I just want to see them get better every week. And I want to see Caleb grow and develop every week. And so far, for my money, that's exactly what is happening, Brandon. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
very happy with that. I'm
and
very
you're
happy
talking
with
about
that.
you want to talk about the Bears timeline, then the timeline, the expectations. We're talking about expectations that you had for this team, guys. I think at this point in the season, Dustin, I feel better about this team 2026 than I
Nice,
thought
Fizzo. I want that shirt too. I like that shirt.
than than I thought I would by this point. So I think that's
That's
happened.
where I'm at. Yeah,
That's
and but the fact that
I thought by like the end of this season,
we
as the season was ending, I'd be like, wow, next year this team's going to be legit. But no, this point right now, halfway through the season, I am thinking this team is only a few pieces away from being really, really fucking dangerous, man. Really dangerous. They get a left tackle on that offense, that's locked up. They get a running
the,
back on a left tackle, They're locked up on the offensive side of football.
Honestly, and I've made the point before, if Ben Johnson can get this kind of production out of DeAndre Swift and Monunga, you might not need a running back because the production ain't going to get much better than this. The left tackle and the
This team
cornerback
looks
right
like
now.
by 2026 they will be a really good
Yeah,
football
a,
team.
a potential juggernaut. And True Pilgrim, I picked Seattle to make the playoffs going into this season. I like that team, and then they've been better than I expected. They are definitely a scary fucking team. That defense is a top 5 defense, maybe best defense in the league. But they're going against a great offense this Sunday, so I'm a little concerned about that.
Pilgrim, you
But
seem to be a non-believer in a team that has made 3 Super Bowl appearances in the last decade. I don't think
the Eagles are still the team to beat. They just won the Super
that
Bowl. I mean,
team
that's
is
just
a
the reality.
phenomenal general manager.
Yeah,
He's a
and the coach is good, and
phenomenal.
the quarterback is good, and they got a lot of good players on both sides of the ball. They're strong in the trenches. Like, that is just a really hard team to beat. No matter if they beat you 10-7 or if they beat you 31-17, you are going to work your ass off to get that 17 against that team. That's just the reality. Again, it goes through the Eagles. The NFC goes through the Eagles right now. The whole league goes through the Eagles right now, and that's what they earned. And as you said, Brandon, they're 8-2 right now. So it's like that Seattle team's tough too, man. There's some good teams in the NFC. We wanted to see the Bears stack up against that. Bring it on. Let's see the measuring stick. Let's see how the Bears hold their own against some of these better teams. They are 0-2 in their division right now, and they cannot lose this game on Sunday, Brandon, and go to 0-3. They just can't, because then you still got 2 against the Packers and 1 at home against the Lions. And you can't go 2-4 in the division this year.
The 3 hardest games you're going to play against. Yeah.
Seattle is playing the Rams Chi-Tex this Sunday. I think that might be the game of the year. Honestly, it's feeling like that. It's looking like that. Yeah, Bizzo. Rams play Seattle. Yeah. And Pilgrim says he can't wait to play them. I don't believe that.
It's going to be an interesting game because
it's on a Friday at 2:30.
The Rams offense is incredible, but the Seahawks defense might be better.
The Bears-Eagles game is going to be an interesting game, Brandon. It's on a Friday at 2:30. It's going to be such a weird game. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. We need to take this 1 week at a time, and I know that that's what the Bears are doing. They're just in the moment. They're trying to own the moment, and it's so far it's working out for them. They're doing what it takes to win these games. And yeah, do you want to see more from them? Do you want to see that last 5 minutes where Caleb is just excellent, best quarterback in the league in those last 5 minutes? Do you want to see that happen throughout the entirety of a game? Fuck yeah. But at the same time, if it happens in the last 5 minutes again on Sunday and Caleb sucks for the rest of the other 55 minutes and the Bears win, I'm good. Yeah, I'm fucking good with that.
I said this. What if this is it for the rest of the year, but they keep winning? Who cares?
Yeah. If Caleb is that all season, but he's phenomenal in those last 5 minutes, and you're on the edge of your seat, and the Bears got a chance to win it because of the heroics of your quarterback, how at the end of the day, you just kind of got to enjoy that. It's going to be frustrating throughout. The Bears are frustrating, man. I understand the frustration. I expect it at this point.
This just kind of hit me, man. And I think about this. If you're a Bears fan, I believe firmly that this team is a team that's going to be in 1-score games for the remainder of the season. I do. They're going to hang in there. They're going to keep it close.
I expect to be frustrated every game, bro.
Well, I'm just saying, when you're in those 1-score games, it gives Caleb the ability to do what Caleb does. So
do you have an advantage?
Yeah.
Right? Do you have an advantage if your quarterback is Caleb Williams, who has been Captain Clutch up to this point?
He has 4 game-winning drives this year. 4. We're halfway through the season. I mean, that is, guys.
And then
I know he's got some growth to do, or some growth. He needs some growth in some areas, but I mean, 4 game-winning drives for a second-year player.
Yeah, man. And then you start to look back at last year,
and he had some game-winning. He had 2.
True Pilgrim, and he had
by
multiple
metrics. They had 2. He had 2 last year.
But there were multiples that he did what he needed to do, and the coaching let him down, or the defense let him down.
Yeah, I would say he probably had 4 last year.
Yeah, exactly.
The Commanders game.
Caleb has been showing this throughout, and last year he was beaten to a pulp.
The Packers, the field goal.
Yeah.
The Commanders, Hail Mary. He won those games.
100%. So you start to look back at that and you're like, Caleb has been showing us who he is. And at some point, as a Bears fan, I think you got to accept him for who he is and just enjoy the experience. Because when you watch Caleb whoop no sacks all Sunday against the Giants and making chicken salad out of chicken shit in terms of what was in front of him, like that's an amazing feat to watch. At the very least, you can just enjoy what he's putting on tape in front of you, man. Because like it, win or lose, Caleb is impressive to watch. And the reality is his receivers let him down big time on Sunday. You know, just those 6 drops, the most in the league this season. You flip those around in the catches; those guys haul those balls in, and you're talking about a completely different stat line if that's what matters to you with Caleb Williams. If for me personally, I've always wanted my quarterback to worry about one stat and one stat only: wins and losses. That's it. Are you getting the win or are you getting the loss? Caleb has shown an aptitude for finding a way to get the win, whether he uses his legs, his arm, or both on the same play, and his
That's why I keep
brains.
asking, Dustin. When did it become about more than winning? If he's winning, Dustin, what if Caleb Williams had winning records for the rest of his career, but it just never looked as
But
clean or
completed
pretty as?
60% of his
Yeah,
passes. Yeah, like
who
so what?
cares?
So what?
You're winning.
Mm-hmm.
You play to win the game, man. Like you can't say it any better than that because it's just the reality. Every sport and every game is made for one reason and one reason, unless you're, like a pussy, like a participant. You play to win a game, dude. You play to win the
Mm-hmm.
game. That's all that
Yep.
matters. You could tell who was it? Was it? I think it was Dan Marino. I can't remember who it was, man. There was somebody who said I would trade all the stats and all my accomplishments and achievements and awards and records for a fucking championship. I'd give it all away for a champion because that's all that matters to them, man. That's all
Well,
that
and I
matters to
think
us
that's
as fans.
I think that's what matters to the fans that say
Yeah.
they want more from Caleb too, because they see how talented he is in these moments. And if you can just get that consistently throughout a 60-minute game,
But
you're
what
going
if
to
you
be
can't and
hard
you
to
win
beat.
anyways?
But the more you can eliminate the variables, the better. And Caleb can eliminate some of these variables, and Caleb can make things easier on himself and his team. But at the end of the day, if you're holding up a W when the clock hits 0, you've done your job. Each one of these Bears games has been different and fucking weird in one way or the other, and the
Yeah,
Bears have just found a
each
way to come out on top more often than not, and
and
that
somebody
counts for the
steps up.
most to me. Yes, that counts for the most to me.
Jake Moody, Colston Loveland, Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift. Somebody steps up in the moment,
Kyle Monungai, Colston Loveland. It's somebody different every week. This
yeah,
team has a
which is
lot of
awesome.
talent on it and a lot of guys that are willing to step up to that moment, man. You surround Caleb with guys like that, and Caleb is like the ultimate clutch guy in the NFL right now. If
Speaking
you're looking
speaking
at,
of, because you said something like we want to
yeah,
see
I agree
Ben
with you.
Johnson can figure out a way to get that final 5 minute Caleb Williams to be permanent Caleb Williams. Is the drives? This has happened more than once, so I can say this with like plurally. The drives that always precede the final drive that win the game, he just blows down the field. Have you noticed this?
Yep,
Not the game winning drive. The drive prior to that,
the one that you
it's
need
always
to even
like,
have a chance at the
yeah,
game-winning
it's always
drive.
like a
Yeah,
2 minute drive, and he throws a touchdown to Roman Dunes. There's like it's always goes by in a breeze, and Caleb makes all of the throws every time it comes. He makes all of the throws, and it's like, dude, whatever it is that you feel when the game's on the line, harness, like, grab a hold of that shit, put it in a bottle, and drink it, man,
Brandon,
because
I think
you need that guy.
that point that I made that you just referenced back to is an important one that I go back into with you a little bit. But I just want to shout out my brother jumping in here. He says, I'm loving watching this team win close games. What's up, Nick? How you doing?
What's
At
up,
the end of
Nick?
the day, wins, losses is what matters. Improving performance in the middle of 8 minutes of the game takes us from good to very good to great. No, yeah, for sure, Nick. And I beat you on those water slide races every time, and you fucking know it. Just so you know, that's just for you. But yes, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for checking in. Make sure you hit that like button, brother. Hopefully I'll see you for Thanksgiving. I think that's the plan, man. Glad you're checking in. But my question, Brandon, on that, and I don't know if I ever got your full answer, because like again, that 5 minutes, that last 5 minutes, that's like when Caleb is at his fucking absolute best. When you're like, holy shit, this guy can be that guy that we drafted to be number one, to be generational. Do you believe that Ben Johnson won't find a way to harness what he does in those 5 minutes and make it more consistent throughout the game? Because I personally believe Ben Johnson is one of the smartest offensive coaches in the NFL, and he's a leader. So I have a ton of faith in him to be able to do that and help Caleb Williams find
Listen,
that consistency.
I haven't wavered from how I feel about Caleb Williams, and I'm more than impressed with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is not just a play caller. This guy's a fucking head coach. He's a leader. He's everything you want in your the Bears head coach and more. And I believe that what Ben Johnson will mold Caleb Williams into is going to be what everybody is itching and scratching and dying and pleading for right now. I'm just patient enough to wait for it. But I
Yep.
think even if it takes 2 years, I think the final product that is Ben Johnson's Caleb Williams is going to be exactly who you're talking about.
And
A
Caleb Williams
lethal,
is Ben Johnson offense.
a
Caleb Williams and
lethal
Ben Johnson's
fucking
offense.
yes, a
Yes.
lethal marriage. This is going to be a lethal marriage. And
As I
guys,
said,
you might not. There's some of you that don't believe. You're not believers. You don't see it. You think it should be further than it is right now. I'm telling you, to become what a successful coach quarterback marriage becomes
takes
takes
time.
a lot of
Mhm.
time, and not just practice and games. These two individuals have to be around each other all of the time. They have to be
Yeah.
texting each other when they're at home. These guys have to, if you're going to think parallel to somebody else, you have to be around them all of the time, man. And that's not going to happen by even the end of this season. I don't
And
believe it.
as True Pilgrim says right here, sometimes I think people forget that Caleb is only 23. He hasn't even finished his second year in the
And he
NFL.
has
Ben
four
Johnson is a rookie
game-winning
head
drives.
Ben Johnson is a rookie head coach who is younger than me. This is going to grow into, and as I said, Brandon, and this is the thing I keep thinking about. Caleb's and Ben Johnson, it's what Ben Johnson goes to sleep smiling about. I fucking guarantee it, man. He don't want Caleb to stop doing what you guys say you want him to stop doing. He don't want Caleb to be a robot in his offense. He wants to be able to design that offense to get receivers open quick and Caleb to take advantage of it. But he also wants Caleb to be able to improvise and run and take off and run to throw, because those things make his offense, Ben Johnson's offense, unstoppable. They
Yeah,
do.
and
When you combine those two things together, it's going to be beautiful.
Ben,
Alan always chimes in by saying hi. So I just want to say hi to Alan. Thank you for being
hey,
here,
Alan.
brother. Hit that like button.
Yeah, Ben Johnson wasn't coming here thinking, God, I hope I can make Caleb as good as Jared Goff. He was coming here thinking Caleb can be whatever Caleb works hard enough to be, man, because Caleb has it all. He
Mm-hmm.
just needs to learn how to use it. I think that Ben Johnson thinks that Caleb Williams is this guy. That's the limits to like Caleb Williams has not only the arm that Jared Goff has, but he's got the elusiveness and the improvisational skills that some of the best quarterbacks in the league have. I mean, you were talking
I don't
about
think a lot. There's
there is no
maybe
way that
Patrick Mahomes, and
guys,
that's it.
by the end of this season, if Caleb has not grown as much as you expect him to, growth and expectations, right? If he has not grown as much as you expect him to, there is no fucking way you can be ready to abandon this project. This kid is talented. He's got ice in his veins. He's a magic player. Ben Johnson loves him. Ben Johnson's not going to quit on him. He's going to
No,
because you know why? Because Ben Johnson's got pride, man. It is Ben Johnson's task to make Caleb the best he can be, and Ben Johnson seems to me to be a guy who takes his task pretty seriously. I think
and
that he's gonna get the best out of Caleb Williams, guys. It might not be for a while though. I keep saying this, Dustin. This is going of all the things the Bears are, all the things they're putting in place, the foundation they're laying, and all the things they're going to build on top of it. This will take the longest.
and it's the most important piece. And Ben Johnson not only has pride in himself and his work, Brandon, he has major faith and confidence in Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
That,
they love each other. Dude, I sent you
that's
that guys the video today. These two guys, they're it's you can see it, Dustin. They're starting to be that You know what I mean? You can tell that they're starting to just kind of feel each other. Like
Yep, yep.
it's they just kind of Caleb and Ben are you can watch this process occur in every coach and quarterback. They're starting to become two mind or one mind. That's what these guys are starting to become, and that's
Two bodies, one mind. Yeah.
once that occurs, that's the Caleb you guys are waiting for. I
Nick
assure you.
threw a nice stat out here. I want to read this. He says minus 34-point differential in the middle eight. That's how these teams we should be handily beaten have stayed in these games. That the Bears are minus 34 in the middle eight. That's a good point. Dwayne chimes in and says Justin looked bad tonight. The what ifs is over for me. He just doesn't have it. I mean, they've been over for me for fucking 2 years, bro.
I mean,
I was
for me,
hoping for Caleb that whole
since
last season with
for
Justin
me
Fields.
since Ohio State.
Yeah, and Jed chimes in. Ben Johnson is an amazing actor if he is faking his faith in Caleb Williams. I think he sees more in him than anyone else knows. I think he sees more in him than anyone else too. I think he sees more in Caleb than me and Brandon see in Caleb, than you, Jed, see in Caleb. I think he sees everything in Caleb Williams. I mean,
I think he thinks he's
he's his
limitless.
precious.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean that 100%. Ben Johnson, as you said earlier, Jed, and we've said all off season, Ben Johnson is here 100% because of Caleb Williams. He knows what he can turn him into. He knows it, and he
Yeah,
knows that
I
is
said
going to
this to
be
you.
unstoppable once
I, s-
it's
I
unlocked.
said this to you last year. While Ben Johnson was standing on Detroit's sideline, he is probably dying watching what Shane Waldron is doing with this kid, man. Ben Johnson was probably on the other side of that field, like, what in the actual fuck are you doing to this prospect right now, man? They burned him, and Ben knew this guy is not just a first overall pick. He is a extremely talented athlete,
Yep.
extremely talented, and if the right guy can guide him, he can be whatever he wants to be.
It's another area where Caleb Williams is really underrated, man. I think at any given point, he's the best athlete on the field, no matter who's on the field. I think Caleb was the best athlete on the field on Sunday. I think he was the best athlete on the field against the Bengals. Caleb gets majorly underrated for that. I mean, he can do what Jaden Daniels does if he wanted to do that. He's starting to show it that he'll take off and get the first. He's just going to do whatever it takes. Nick says here what I touched on earlier. Key for Ben Johnson is getting Caleb to let plays develop downfield a beat or two longer before evacuating the pocket. That'll be the area to develop. I'll be watching for the rest of the season. And it's the one Ben Johnson is watching too. And it's the one that he's pointing out to Caleb in the film room, Nick. If you would have stayed in here just a little longer, he said it yesterday, then we got the big play versus whatever you end up, that incompletion or that small play, or you ran for 5 yards. You could have hit a touchdown to roam there. That's what Ben Johnson is enforcing in Caleb. And then you hear Caleb saying the same thing in his press conferences. That's another thing that's huge. When you hear Ben Johnson and Caleb, they do their press conferences back to back. They are speaking the same fucking language. They are seeing the same things, and they are looking to improve on the same shit.
You're watching the two of these people become one entity, and that's that's what you're waiting for. That's what all these people who are like, oh, he has not grown here, or he's not. It's the first step that needs to occur in Caleb taking command of all of Ben Johnson's playbook is that he thinks just like Ben Johnson. Guys, he can execute these plays.
He's got all the
He
physical
can make
talent
the
to
throw.
execute any
He
play.
can, yeah, he can do it all. He just needs to know it.
Yeah.
He needs to think. When Ben Johnson, when a defense lines up in a specific way, or when you're in 3rd and 2 and you have a big lead in the game, Ben Johnson's going to coach a specific way in that situation, right? Every play in every game is a different situation. Caleb needs to know how Ben Johnson would coach in those situations if he didn't have Ben Johnson there to do it. That's when these guys become Hall of Famers. Is when you have a good you have to have a good coach. You got to have a good play caller, a good offensive coordinator, a good quarterback coach. When you have a good play caller, a good quarterback coach guiding a good talent, it's a matter of time before this becomes something special. Well, something that we consistently can say the Bears are going to compete year in and year out with Ben. As long as you get to a point where you can say, as long as Ben Johnson's our head coach and Caleb Williams is our quarterback, we will be in the playoffs.
Two other areas of improvement for Caleb that I want to touch on before we move on from this conversation, Brandon. His deep ball accuracy has been much improved this season from last year. That was one of the biggest knocks that all of his detractors wanted to throw out there. He can't complete the deep ball. He's been much improved in that area. You see it on the field. You see it in the statistics. It's one of the better throwers in the league, 20-plus yards down the field. That's just the reality. And this Vikings team, as was pointed out earlier, can be gotten in that regard. So that'll be interesting to see. The other thing, because people bring up what Ben Johnson said about EPA. Kyle brought it up earlier today, and I just wanted to touch on this because this is hugely important, okay? Ben Johnson was asked at the owners' meeting, what metrics are you looking at? And he said, I think EPA is kind of taken over in terms of wins and losses, determining wins and losses. I would have said turnover margin, if you guys remember this. He said, I would have said turnover margin if you asked me 5 years ago. But from what I understand, that EPA per pass play is what is dictating wins and losses. He said the team that wins the EPA per pass play in any given game wins 80% of those games. That's what Ben Johnson said. He didn't say the EPA of the quarterback, which Caleb is still struggling at, but he said EPA per pass for that team. The Bears last year, Brandon, I sent in the text, but I'm going to ask you just for, effect drama, the sake of the effect. Do you know what the Bears were in EPA per pass play last year?
32nd.
32nd. No, they were 27th. They were 27th. Not good at all. EPA per pass play. The Bears right now, currently, as Ben Johnson kind of foresaw, are 12th in the league in EPA per pass play. 12th. That 0.09. So I mean, they're not top 10, but they're 15 spots better than they were to finish last year. Caleb has improved in that regard. That comes down to his decision making. That comes down to his effectiveness in moving the chains. That comes down to his accuracy in big spots. These things are improving. His deep ball accuracy is improving, and his completion percentage on those plays and the amount of yards and touchdowns he's getting is all improved in that regard. The EPA per pass play for the Bears is improving drastically under Ben Johnson with Caleb Williams getting that tutelage from Ben Johnson and getting a better offense designed for him and a better pass protection in front of him. All these things are growing and coming together. The improvement we've seen halfway through this season versus what we saw last year, it's just astronomical, man. In the terms of Caleb Williams and in terms of this Bears offense overall.
And something Greg Olson said a couple weeks ago, was it during the Giants game, was two things that really stood out in regards to what the impact Ben Johnson's made here. One was Caleb has thrown to the most open receivers than any other quarterback in the NFL.
Ben Johnson's designing the hell out of that offense.
And second, the two leading tight ends in yards per attempt are Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. They have the most the longest pass attempt per game per target in the NFL, and they're both on the Bears. Ben Johnson likes to use these guys downfield.
Yep.
He wants big plays out of tight ends, and he's got two of them that are capable of doing so.
Falling out of my pockets.
The stuff that we wanted to see from Ben Johnson, because we talk about Caleb. We almost never do an analysis of where our head coach is in his growth. And I'm going to tell you this, man. The impact at least in the rankings that you're already seeing on this offense, top 10 in this and 12th in that and 13th in this and 8th in this and 6th in that. It's like this dude. That's why I'm telling you guys, think about 2026. What are you going to be first in everything?
When you add more pieces and when you have a year in this system, when you potentially make the playoffs and these players get this experience together.
From bottom 20s and everything to top 10 in almost every offensive statistic.
Listen, that's the Ben Johnson effect on stats, on paper. The Ben Johnson effect you see in that locker room after
6
a win.
and 3. Yeah, that's the effect you see.
But also the effect you see in terms of this team's morale, in terms of the culture, in terms of the buy-in. Exactly, man. Like everything that you wanted to happen from Ben Johnson is happening, and it is directly impacting Caleb Williams. And Nick points out another thing that I believe I saw major improvement from Caleb on Sunday in terms of his pre-snap reads, in terms of his willingness to kill a play into audible into something else. Caleb pre-snap on Sunday against the Giants, that's underrated, I think, in terms of the game he had. He knew what he was going to do a lot more pre-snap.
He's very aware of pressure.
Yep. He was, and he was seeing it. He was seeing it pre-snap on Sunday. I see the improvement week to week in
Clearly,
Caleb and that.
he
Yeah.
evaded 9 sacks.
Yep. And Nick says here, knowing where he should go with the ball pre-snap is the thing that I think links all of these areas of development discussed. Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. And I think Ben Johnson agrees with you too. Ben Johnson wants that first guy to be the guy that Caleb is able to hit. But again, if that's not what happens, Caleb has this uncanny ability to fall back on his natural talent and make a play when there isn't one because the defense was on top of whatever play call Ben Johnson called. But yes, Caleb pre-snap, there's improvement there week to week, guys, in terms of diagnosing the defense and knowing what would be the smartest thing to do with that ball when that ball is snapped. That has gotten much better, and just in this season as well, man. The improvement is everywhere to be seen if you want to see it. Does that mean that his ball placement couldn't be better? No. Does that mean that his completion percentage couldn't be better? Of course it can. It needs to be. And I think no one knows that more than Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. But it doesn't mean you don't appreciate the growth that you are seeing. It doesn't mean that you don't appreciate the talent and ability that you are seeing. And this marriage between Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams coming together, Brandon, you got to acknowledge those things when you're talking about the stuff you want Caleb to get better at. Those two things are equally important because Caleb needs to continue to build confidence. So no one understands that better than Ben Johnson, man. And I just think you're doing yourself a disservice as a fan if you're not enjoying what you're seeing right now with Caleb Williams. You're not acknowledging the growth that you see.
Just wait for the day where Caleb, as opposed to waiting for the call on the field, kind of already knows what Ben's going to call.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin, you want to talk about the Iceman verse 9?
I don't know.
Two quarterbacks that have developed an alias.
True Pilgrim says the wide receivers need to catch the damn ball. Phil checks in, Brandon. What's up, Phil? How you doing, brother? Hit that like button. I'm sure you have already. No, that's Phil. No, that's Phil. No, our chat's been being weird in terms of like what their tags are showing.
When you say Phil, I think Bears fans for life, man.
That's who it is. That's who it is.
Philip Palmisano.
That's Phil.
When did he change it from Bears fan for life?
I don't think he did. Let's not get into this, man. Jesus Christ. Thanks for being here, Brandon. Nick says,
for not being here.
Seeing him throw against pressure. Seeing him throw against pressure this week will be a big indicator. Yeah, how he performs against that blitz. And God damn it, we missed another area of improvement for Caleb Williams, guys. He's been amazing throwing against the blitz this season, guys. He's been fucking amazing. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Nobody's going to blitz him anymore.
Last year. Come on now. The growth and development from Caleb can be seen in all areas.
Which, by the way, Dustin, takes that element away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Teams are aware of how good Caleb's been. They're going to want to blitz. They're going to be very less inclined to blitz because they're like, this guy's going to torch us if we do it, man. So that gives your offense an advantage, knowing that the defense is less likely to do so because Caleb's been so effective against it. You don't want to keep giving a quarterback the opportunity to do something he's done tremendously well.
I think our Caleb Love Fest has come to an end. I think we've done a good job establishing that Caleb has grown in many areas, statistically and intangibly, and in every area that you really want to see a young 23-year-old quarterback.
What we're waiting for, and when you'll start
and
to
why,
see it.
When you'll start to see it.
Yes.
And why it's worth waiting for, Brandon. Most importantly, I think, because the potential of the Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson offense has no ceiling in terms of NFL comparisons. There won't be another team in the NFL that can put an offense on the field like Ben Johnson and Caleb can when they figure this thing out. And I believe they will. So we can get into this game, and this is another step in Caleb's progression and Ben Johnson's progression and this Bears team's progression towards, potentially competing for the playoffs and, getting some damn good experience for these players. I wanted to start, man, with the injury report because there's some concerning stuff on here. Jaquan Brisker, DMPs, back-to-back days, Wednesday, Thursday. Not looking good for Jaquan. TJ Edwards missed last week, and it showed in terms of it was as bad as I expected it to be in terms of how that impacted that defense. And he's 2 DMPs in a row. Joe Tooney, this is par for the course for him. He rests. He's old. And he's ready to go on Sunday. That's what it is. But Jaquan,
he's a gangster. That's all that is.
Jaquan and TJ, it's not looking like they're going to play, man. It looks like they're going to be out for this game.
It's just your two biggest running backs.
I mean, Tremaine Edmonds was awesome on Sunday against the run, man. I gotta say it. Tremaine Edmonds has been blowing me away this year with how he's playing.
But he
I
was
know
better against the pass.
he was damn good against the pass too. He was damn good against the run. He made some key plays in that regard, man. DJ Moore went from a DMP on Wednesday to limited. Jolly Walker's out.
Moore's gonna play.
Roma Dunze, and he said that today. And Roma
Walker,
Dunze went from it. Roma Dunze went
Walker's
from
on
a DM.
IR.
Well, I don't know why he's listed on the injury report then, but he's a DMP. Roma Dunze DMP on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. So those are two big ones. Josh Blackwell, you're gonna need with these injuries in the secondary. So he was a full the last 2 days. Kevin Byard went from a DMP to a full. Yeah, it's looking okay besides the whole Jaquan.
How did Ruben Hipley get injured? Is a healthy scratch?
Man, these guys practice, Brandon. They're on the field. They're putting in work.
Stop. He slipped getting in the ice tub.
How are you feeling about that injury report, Brandon? How's the chat feeling about that injury report?
I mean, I don't know, Dustin. The injury thing to me on the defensive side of football is becoming very strange because, like, no matter how many pieces, I don't think the story in this defense has changed. Is depending on who's in the game. I think they're a defense that needs to take the ball away. It can be Brisker. It can be, TJ Edwards and Brisker can be in there, and they could not. I don't think if let me ask you this, Dustin. If Edwards and Brisker play, is this a team that you have confidence in consistently stopping a team on third down?
No, it's a team I have more confidence than I do if they don't play. but I don't have confidence in this defense. It does make a difference.
What does this defense still depend on regardless?
Well, it depends on a big play. It depends on splash plays, turnovers, keeping that turnover margin up, turning the other team over, which I think you can do against JJ McCarthy. I think he's shown that.
Oh, they'll take the ball.
Yeah, and it depends on a big play. And I think TJ Edwards is a guy that can make a big run stop, in a key situation. Jaquan Brisker is a guy that has done that, you know what I'm saying? So those things are concerning when they're not on the field.
After watching that game on Sunday, my biggest concern is without Edwards and Brisker is that JJ McCarthy runs the fucking ball down your throat, because that seems to be a thing. Jackson Dart, if he didn't get concussed, would have just kept running.
But you knew Dart was going to get hurt. I knew it. I said it. You just knew it, and I hope the same for JJ McCarthy.
They didn't have an answer for it.
No, they did not. Yep, and they haven't had an answer for scrambling quarterbacks all year. And honestly, man, I'll say what I said about Dart. I hope JJ McCarthy runs, and I hope the Bears hit him. If he's going to run,
I kind of want him to stay in the game.
Phil Vizzo says, "What do Bears have to do to win Sunday against the Vikings?" We're about to get into that.
Thanks,
Purple
Kyle.
Jesus jumped in. He said, "Sup, nerds," and then he gifted 5 4-star Chicago sports memberships. Thank you, Purple Jesus, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Kyle.
True Pilgrim was answering, "Run the rock, but be balanced. That's how we win." We need more greenbacks. Yeah, no shit. We all do, don't we? We appreciate you, Kyle. You're the fucking man. And then Shannon said, "Let me ask y'all, who does Caleb remind y'all of?" I've said it over. My draft coming into the draft, I was like, this guy could be a scrambling Drew Brees, which I still think is his ceiling. But right now it's Baker Mayfield, man, in terms of the guy that just finds a way to make the play to win the game. Like that Baker does that. And Baker has a very similar skill set in terms of running and passing, running when he needs to, not unnecessarily.
Like prime Russell Wilson, or like a Brett Favre kind of guy. Tony Romo.
Yeah, he's a gunslinger. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Tony Romo's a good one too.
But he could also move, and Tony Romo was, some of these guys aren't. Although Brett Favre would get out of the pocket and run when he needed to.
Vizzo, this is a good question, Brandon. He says, so if Brisker is out, is CJ replacing him and McLeod back at nickel? It's just stretching, man. Ooh. So if Brisker is out, is CJ Gardner Johnson replacing him and McLeod back at nickel? I really fucking hope not. I like that Josh Blackwell. I would prefer Josh Blackwell over McLeod, to be honest. But it'll be interesting to see if they put CJ at. The thing is, you don't break. Let me say this: you don't break one thing to fix another thing that's broken.
No, they're going to
You
put Owens at safety.
the thing that's working, let that keep working. CJ Gardner at nickel has been fucking phenomenal. This guy has been perfect in that role in Dennis Allen's
Yeah, you're
defense.
not taking.
Bizzo, you don't take him out of that
They're
role
not
to go
Bizzo.
go plug another league. You let him stay
You're going
where
to
he
see
is and let him be successful. I like Owens
in
in that
Hicks.
role. Well,
You're going to see
Brandon,
Owens and Hicks.
Yep, yeah. That you see a rotation of those two guys probably at safety, and hopefully Blackwell more so than McLeod at nickel if CJ is in that safety role. If our defense was healthy, it's a top 5 bunch in my opinion. I can't get with you there, man, but
No, nope.
yeah,
Their front seven. I'm sorry, was that Pilgrim?
yeah,
Their secondary is loaded. If they're healthy, they're extremely talented. Their front seven, Pilgrim. I thought before the season started, I was on record saying this an awful lot. They just weren't good on paper before the season even started.
yeah.
If you just looked at the front set, the defensive line, the linebackers, if you just looked at that on paper and compared it to most of the teams in the league, it just didn't stack up, man. And it doesn't.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that.
They're
Yeah,
missing big pieces, man. They're
they're
missing it.
missing big pieces of a defense that was already not good,
Yeah,
and so
and
it just
I
makes
mean,
it that
like
much
on
harder.
the roster healthy, they're
No, yeah,
missing
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
a
yeah, they were missing
monster
pieces
edge
going
rusher.
into the season,
Yeah.
and now they're missing pieces, as we said earlier, of what was already missing pieces.
And
So
me and
it
you will
just makes
probably
it that much harder.
disagree. Me and you are going to disagree on this, I'm sure, but I'm going to say it, man. Even with the strides that he's made and the subtle improvements, I think outside of the edge, they still need a tackle. I don't think Dexter has become what we've
Javon
aspired him
Dexter
to
has
be.
made more than subtle improvements. He's having a really good fucking season, man. I mean, he keeps finding his
But
way into the backfield.
he's not
He's
that guy, man.
we'll see on Sunday against that interior
Do
line
you
of the
still believe
Vikings.
that he could be like a wrecker? I don't. I think you know
I
what
think he
that's like.
has been in spots, and yeah, I mean he's still
No,
young
he's
too,
been on
man.
plays,
Yeah,
not in games. He's not that guy, dude. I think this. I knew we would disagree there, but I think this Bears
no, we
defense is
weren't top 10 under Eberflus.
missing
Truth
a
be known.
lot of pieces, man. I do. I think they're missing a lot of
Pilgrim,
pieces.
go look up the stats. They were never top 10 under Eberflus. And yeah, I remember Donovan McNabb. I don't see McNabb in the Caleb conversation in terms of comparisons. But I mean, it's okay. I
Caleb
love
was a
Donovan McNabb.
Caleb was a far more talented thrower of the football than Donovan McNabb was. But
Yeah,
I
I think so as well. Purple Jesus says if you simulate our snap count, you'll have a good chance. Yeah, for sure. McNabb was good, and I think Caleb has the potential to be better than Donovan McNabb. One thing I wanted to throw out here too, man, because I think this is important. We're talking about injuries. The Vikings injury report. There's two things that stand out to me here, Brandon.
Greener,
Um, yeah, Greener DMP 2 days in a row.
Grenard, I didn't know. I guess it's Grenard.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then Christian Darrisaw, he wasn't in there in that first game, and it had major implications in that first half at least. Christian Darrisaw was full on Wednesday, but then did not participate today. If you get another DMP from him tomorrow, you
He's
might
out.
not see, and he's their best offensive lineman by far, and he's one of the best left tackles in the league. And if the Bears get 2 games against the Vikings this year without Darrisaw, you are too lucky to not capitalize on that. And Austin Booker will make mincemeat out of that guy. I can't remember his name, the backup left tackle. I'm sure Kyle can throw it in there in the chat for us because he was getting demolished week 1 when he filled in for Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah,
Austin Booker
who was
wasn't
the guy?
there.
Who was the guy? Dio was just murdering all game.
Yeah, Darrisaw rests every Thursday. Kyle says, "God damn it, you're raining on my parade." I'm not saying his name. Say his name, Kyle. I can't remember his fucking name. So you're saying, Kyle, that Darrisaw is just a normal rest, and the knee is not something to be concerned about. I hope it is. Fingers crossed. I hope Darrisaw's not playing. But the Greener thing, or Grenard, or whatever, that makes a big difference. That makes a big difference in terms of that Vikings pass rush.
Yeah,
So yeah,
your weakest link on the offensive side of the football is your left tackle. That's huge. We got this Bears
no, he's saying
defense.
he's going to start. Kyle's saying that's not something to worry about.
Who?
Darisaw.
No, I'm talking about
But
Grenard.
yeah, Grenard it's not looking like he's going to play, and yeah, that would make life a little easier on Theo Bennett, who God knows we need to make things as easy as possible on him.
Yeah, so injuries pretty substantial for both teams. I think the Bears are missing Brisker and Edwards, and the Vikings are missing Grenard. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for both those guys. And Grenard, this is the kind of football take. If you're the Vikings going against a Theo Bennett, this is when you like
You want to take
desperately look.
advantage of that,
Yeah,
yeah.
you desperately want. That's the Bears' weak link. That's where you're looking, man. And
Nick
I don't
says
know. Maybe
Dominic.
maybe Dallas Turner has a big game. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dallas Turner a lot, man.
Is
Nick says
Van
Dominic.
Ginkel like injured? I haven't heard that guy's name once.
Van Ginkel's been injured at points in the season, but he's on the roster now. He's not on the injury report.
I haven't heard his name. He was like exploding last season. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he'll make an impact on that game on Sunday. Dominic Robinson looks set to return this week, allows Booker to be more rotational, which benefits his game. I like Booker in that rotational role, but I'll say, man, he was fucking really good against the run on Sunday too. I also like him just as a straight starter because he performed. He handled the extra responsibility really well. Booker is a better player than Dom Rob, so I would rather see Booker maintain that starting role, to be honest.
Yeah, no, Don Rob's not going to start. Booker's going to start. But I also think that I mean, you traded into the back into the what was it, the 5th round to draft Booker,
Mm-hmm.
and you draft him as a project player with knowing that he had a potentially high ceiling. I think the goal when I think the idea when drafting Booker is that he would start for this football team eventually.
Yeah, but
This
I
happens
agree with
sooner.
Nick.
Happens sooner than people think it did. I think
I agree with Nick
by
in terms of
necessity.
Booker being in that rotational role, really playing to his strengths, which is just going after the quarterback. You know, we were talking about that last week, Brandon. So, I mean, we're in agreement with him on that. But I think he really showed out in a positive way in that full-time role on Sunday.
Yeah, and I don't. I'd like to see as little Dominic Robinson as possible, man. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just that guy. It's been too long.
I didn't know you guys called Andrew Van Ginkel AVG, just average. or if he's Vandrew and Ginkel, he's Vag. Fuck that guy.
Just average.
His nickname is Average. That's not a great indicator. Phil says Bears 34, Vikings 27, guys. Bear the fuck down. So is that not you were just being efficient in terms of what you were doing? That's not his nickname. Yeah, Vizzo says Booker had the most snaps on defense last week. So Brandon, Bears offense.
He's got a high motor. He's fine. He's fine to do that. He is.
I think so too, man. I hope he maintains the starting role. I would not want to see Dominic Robinson starting over him, to be honest. That's just my take. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, either way, your rotation gets better with Dom Rob back. So let's get into this game a little bit, Brandon.
I think Dustin. I think honestly, that Tryon Shoyinka kid's gonna start.
Sri Lanka.
He's
I don't know. You keep saying that.
He's gonna start.
Well, Booker played the most snaps though, so
yeah.
And Nick is saying Dom's gonna start. Booker did have a pretty good game. A lot of run stats from DA.
I think that Tryon Shoyinka started against the Giants. I'm pretty sure.
Booker was the go-to guy in that role throughout the game. I don't remember who started, but I thought it was Booker, to be honest. Let's get into this game, Brandon. Where do you see the Bears winning or losing this game? What do you see being the biggest key to this game?
Getting pressure on JJ McCarthy. He's been tale of two players, man. This guy's looked really good, or he's looked just awful. So you got to get pressure. You've got to get pressure, Dustin. I don't think this quarterback's very good. Don't.
Can I give you a stat?
Anybody in the NFL is going to look good throwing to Justin Jefferson if he doesn't get pressured.
Yep, and Jordan Addison, who's fucking really good too. Can I give you a stat that bodes well in that regard, Brandon?
Yeah.
QB sack percentage for the Vikings, they are 30th in the league at 10.63%. Their offensive line has been atrocious. They are starting to get it together a little bit over these last couple games, but they are allowing one of the highest sack rate percentages in the NFL. The problem with that, Brandon, is that the Bears have not been great at getting pressure on anybody all year. Montez Sweat is stepping it up over these last 4 games, and adding Austin Booker back makes a big difference. But can you turn what's been a weakness of yours into a strength to expose the Vikings' weakness in terms of allowing their QB to be sacked basically more than anybody in the NFL. There's two teams that are worse than them. Do you think that that's going to happen? Do you think the Bears can pull it off?
Yeah, I think. Well, I think they can get pressure. Well, I think Montez Sweat's going to get a sack. Too. Like, Montez
Okay.
Sweat's been playing at a high level. I think Austin Booker is going to
Yeah,
create.
I know, purple.
He's going to create pressure, Booker for sure. And I just you gotta Dustin. I can't believe I'm even saying this about a guy who refers to himself as 9, but he can run.
Yeah,
Do not sleep. This
that's where the Bears have
the
been
problem with the
exposed all
pass
season,
rush
Brandon.
is these guys every time they push the pass rush on these mobile quarterbacks, they're leaving
They
gaping
over pursue.
lanes.
They over pursue, and then they leave a wide open lane for the quarter.
Yeah,
We talked about that
and
going into that game against the
make
Commanders.
McCarthy
Yep.
pass the ball. Make him pass the ball. You're highly
Yeah,
susceptible to mistakes when you're putting the ball in the air, not when you're tucking and running every play.
yeah, and JJ McCarthy has. I mean, he.
Although Jackson Dart did fumble instead of throwing a pick, so maybe it's better people run. I don't know.
Listen, I think if he runs, the Bears will find a way to put a hit on him. I don't. He's not as reckless. Jackson Dart was the most reckless guy running the ball in the NFL. That's why that made so much sense that the Bears were going to get after him. I mean, JJ McCarthy's completion percentage currently is not good. In November, he's completing 50.7% of his passes. Now, against the Bears, he completed 65% of his passes in that first game. I think Dennis Allen is going to change it up a little bit in terms of how he goes after JJ. And I think there is going to be a lot more design pressure, Brandon. I think CJ Gardner Johnson getting in there again makes a lot of sense. Not having Brisker, I mean, he's a damn good blitzer. So, I mean, like, that hurts. But like you said, man, don't over pursue. Don't overcommit on that pass rush and let them run
No,
by
play
you.
fucking coverage on these guys, man. Listen, Justin Jefferson's going to do his thing. He's going to get off, but
Kyle, I told you to your face that I couldn't stand JJ McCarthy. I didn't think he was good. So.
You've got to cover these guys downfield, man. You can't keep giving up these bombs. So whatever you got to do to contain Justin Jefferson, you leave a safety back there, and that's another problem, Dustin. You're talking about Brisker being out. You're gonna have Jonathan Owens, or
Do you remember how bad Jonathan Owens was last year when he had to
you're gonna
play
have
for?
Jonathan Owens, or you're gonna have Hicks trying to
Oh
cover
God.
Justin Jefferson downfield. That is terrifying.
I mean,
Listen,
Tyreek has
this
been
team
really
needs
good, man. I'm expecting him to
guys.
be on Justin Jefferson a lot.
This team needs to take the ball away. They need to take the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah. And JJ McCarthy can and will turn the ball over, especially if you get that pressure on him. I mean,
Jordan
three
Mason's put the
touchdowns,
ball
three
on the ground.
interceptions in November. Yeah. I mean, it's not been great. So his completion percentage on the year, 53.7, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He turns the ball over more than he puts it in the end zone. If you get the pressure on him, you get the turnovers. The Bears, as I said, are dominating in terms of turnover rates. At what is that? I just said it earlier. Damn it!
Two
And I
point
lost
two
it.
six, I think you said.
Yeah, let me double check it here. Turnovers. Yes, 2.2 takeaways a game. 1.6 turnover margin, plus 1.6. That's number one in the league. The 2.2 takeaways is number one in the league. Can the Bears capitalize on something that they've been, really riding high off of in this game? Force a young quarterback to make some mistakes, a guy that has been prone to mistakes, and really get that ball back in Caleb Williams' hands. And can Caleb Williams in this offense capitalize on that early in the game versus waiting until the last 5 minutes to get that done?
And can Caleb in this offense capitalize on a defense that's really struggled, man? I mean, I thought this Vikings team was better than they are coming into this season. Their defense has conceded a lot of points in the last couple of weeks. Even you saw when they kicked into the Bears game with the highlight of Aaron Jones running a touchdown to kick that Ravens game off. They were like, let's go to the Vikings for a highlight, and they went, and Aaron Jones ran the first touchdown of that game against the Ravens.
Yep.
As they were showing that play, I was like, they're gonna get murdered in this game.
Well, the thing is, about Aaron Jones, and I've been saying this. This would be my fourth time saying this at this point because the Bears are playing the Vikings for the fourth time since we started doing the show. He is a fucking bear killer, and Purple Jesus
Although
says the KOC needs to run the goddamn
he's kind
ball,
of
and
disappearing, man.
he might be coming back. And guess what, man? Against the Bears, for some reason, he is always good. He was injured in that first Bears game, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't injured. They just barely used him.
They went to Jordan Mason.
Yeah, I
They went to
remember
Jordan
saying to
Mason
Kyle,
heavy.
we were at that game, and I remember saying to Kyle, Mason is the Vikings starting running back.
Yeah,
It's very
and
clear.
I
said,
thought going into that game, Mason would be the
and
problem.
whoever I was saying to Kyle, whoever drafted Aaron Jones in fantasy really fucked up because it's pretty clear Mason's going to be their guy going forward.
Well, I mean, they just haven't been able to establish the run in the way that they need to work the play action. That would obviously help JJ McCarthy. Nick says here, if I'm 9, I'm looking at this Bears D as a get right opportunity. Yeah, if you're any quarterback in the league, looking at what this team has given up in terms of points per game, in terms of yards per game, in terms of basically every major statistical category, it's not good. They're giving up 27.4 points per game. They're giving up 375 yards a game. Those are both bottom 6 in the NFL. They're giving up 0.463 points per play. They're giving up 6.3 yards per play, bottom 5. Third down conversion percentage is where they stand up. The Bears tend to get teams off the field on third down. Can they get after JJ McCarthy and force the turnovers on downs or force the punts, man? That's what the Bears are. That's going to be the key, right, for this Bears team. Against the pass, Bears are allowing 69.68% completion percentage. So, yeah, that makes sense. JJ McCarthy looking at this as a get-right game. And they're giving up 8.2 yards per pass, both bottom 5 statistics for the Bears. Pass yards, 240 a game. Do you think JJ McCarthy has his best game of his career against the Bears in Minnesota this Sunday?
No.
No? You think the Bears are gonna like just turn around all those stats working in JJ McCarthy's favor?
I think the Vikings are about to start kind of falling away from the pack in the NFC North here, man.
I mean, we went through last week and did the record predictions, and this is a really rough stretch for the Vikings. To me,
we had them losing like 5 in a row.
No, four in a row. I think it was 4 in a row. They were,
and then we had them winning like 3 in a row or something.
Yeah, we had them losing that last week. I'll get to the Ravens. We had them losing to the Bears. The Seahawks are in there, and there was one other. I think it was the Packers. Just some really good teams. They're playing some damn good teams all in a row. Yeah. So we had them losing 4 in a row, and then winning 5 out of their last 6. Actually, I think, that's what we had. We had them finishing at 8 and 9. So I don't know about falling out of it. We had them kind of in the thick of it down to the end. They're going to pull off some wins, but if I'm the Bears, man, I can't go into Minnesota and not walk out with a win. You cannot go to 0-3 in your division. This is a must win for both teams. So that's a little scary considering the Vikings are at home. I think the difference, Brandon, is Caleb Williams versus JJ McCarthy. I really do. And Purple Jesus Kyle pointed out that he's only played 4 games. And I think that works in the advantage of Caleb Williams because Caleb Williams has been available. He talked about that in his presser, and it's an important thing. And Caleb Williams has gotten the reps, and Caleb Williams is a better quarterback right now than JJ McCarthy. So if this Bears offense can find a way to take advantage of this Vikings defense that gives up a lot of big plays and gives up a high passing percentage on those deep balls, if Caleb Williams can find a way to do that, that would be the difference in this game, man. And I think he will outperform JJ McCarthy in this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, Caleb's.
That's the difference.
Since Caleb lost to JJ McCarthy, he's beaten the 2 other quarterbacks he played from his class, and Spencer Rattler and Jaden Daniels, and I expect that to start trending up. I think Caleb's going to start to beat these guys from his class pretty consistently, outside of maybe Drake May. But I do think that you're going to see the JJ McCarthy potential matchups in the future, the Jaden Daniels matchups in the future, the Bo Nix matchups. I think Caleb will get the best of these guys, especially with Ben Johnson now being, obviously a pretty damn good head coach is what it's looking like.
It was brought up earlier, and I jumped on it, and I'm going to jump on it again. I think Luther Burden goes off in this game, Brandon. I think you saw last week that OZ thing really not working. We saw a lack of ability to hang on to the ball. I mean, he got called out for effort by Tim Jenkins. I saw on X. I mean, in terms of when he was watching the tape, and Luther Burden, every time he touches the ball, just good things happen, and he doesn't seem to drop it. And he's a really good route runner, and he's really explosive. And you're going into a matchup where the one thing that you can and should exploit is their inability to defend the deep ball. And Luther
Well,
Burden is your best deep ball
and
threat on this team. He is. So I think Luther Burden gets heavily involved in the offense this week, and I think you just start to see him take
well,
off for the remainder of this season.
and I would imagine you're going to see
No,
the
no,
most
certainly
of
can't take him lightly, True Pilgrim.
you're going to see the most of Luther Burden this week than you've seen all year. And I say that because Ben Johnson has not really, which is kind of disappointing. And this is the one thing I have continuously knocked him for. I'm going to continue to. He hasn't really played the rookies based on reward. Like when these guys show their ass out in
He
practice
always
and
says
they
trust,
block,
Brandon. Trust is
yeah,
the word he goes
he's
to.
not rewarding them for working hard or making the blocks when they don't have the ball. He's what he's doing. It's like opportunity by necessity. So Colston Loveland had his big day when Cole Kmet was
Was
taken out of the
out.
game. Was taken
Yeah.
out of the game, and I think it took what we just saw from Zacchaeus. So it wasn't necessarily what Luther Burden was doing that was going to get him more time on the field. I think Zacchaeus is removing himself
Well, it's a
from
combination of both. Burton
that.
is earning the trust, and that we knew that was going to take time because he was set so far back in the offseason, and Oz's a vet. But so Burton's been earning the trust. Every opportunity he gets, he
And
seems to
OZ has been
capitalize on it.
losing
And
it,
Oz has been
and
losing it.
not
So
just by
that,
Ben.
yes, from Caleb Williams looked him off. He could have thrown him the ball
He
when he
was
ran
done.
down when he ran and got put down at the 1 yard line. Zacchaeus was wide open. Caleb said, "I don't trust you," and he looked him off. Now, so that confluence of events leads to, I think, a Luther Burden emergence, really like
Yeah,
a
I think this will be the
renaissance of
game. I
Luther.
think it'll be the most
Yeah,
snap
this is
share
where you
he
see the
gets.
changing of guards at that slot position. It's from Zacchaeus to Luther Burden, and I think that just carries on throughout the season. I think Burden kind of goes off in this game against a weak Vikings secondary. What do you think of that?
I think this will be the most opportunity he ever gets
I
since
think
the
I think the opportunity is
since
going to continue to grow,
and
man.
I do
Personally,
and yeah, Dustin. I think when Luther Burden is given an opportunity, he's going to prove that he should continue to get them.
my
He's
cats are out there playing with a bottle cap outside the door. Little
he's gonna
bastards.
he's gonna play a good football game. Whenever the guy's given a chance to prove something, man, he's going to. That's just the kind of guy. Luther Burden to me is still my favorite type of person in regards to a professional athlete. Like this dude is just strictly business, Dustin. He is
Let's
not.
get in.
He don't care about the media. He don't care about like. I don't even know if he cares about the money. The guy just wants to go prove the world wrong, which is awesome.
Yeah, and
I love
I think he's
players
going
like
to
this.
on Sunday. I think he's going to on Sunday. I just went through all the terribleness that is the Bears against the pass. The Vikings are not much better, if they're better at all. Completion percentage against for the Vikings 67%. That's 22nd in the league. So I guess it's a little better. The yards per pass 7.5. That's 26th in the league. Passes per game, opponent passes per game is 28. That's fifth in the league.
Yeah, their secondary's been
Yeah.
pretty much what we expected to
Yep.
be. And I thought their
And
defense would be better, but their secondary's not talented.
now opponents pass yards per game is 191.7. That's eighth in the league. So in terms of I guess it is actually a lot better than the Bears. The Bears are allowing 240. The Vikings are allowing 191. So yeah, that's a big difference. The Vikings secondary though can be gotten in terms of big plays. That's what I want to focus on if I'm Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. And Caleb just needs to be efficient in this game. For the people that are saying they want to see Caleb play on time and within some structure and stay in the pocket a little bit, Ben Johnson said it right. Stay in the pocket a little longer and find that big play. This is the game where you want to see all that stuff come together. So what Sean was talking about on Monday, it makes sense, especially going into this game, because that's how you're going to beat the blitz. If Caleb tries to run out of that pocket, he's going to be in for a world of hurt, I think. I think you got to stand in that pocket, trust your guys, trust that offensive line that was the number one pass protecting unit in the league last week, and just hang in there and make the throw, as Nick was saying earlier in the chat.
Yeah, I think Caleb. I think
Dante, what up, dude?
I think for this one, what's going on, Dante? I think for this one, they'll live and die by Caleb. Dustin, I think Caleb. We this This Minnesota game is going to be very reflective of the game you saw week 1, where Caleb just didn't make the throws. He missed them consistently. I think that Caleb was able to make those throws this time around. I think he's
Yeah,
and I think that'll be the difference.
that would have been the difference in that game in week
Yeah,
1, Brandon. The
yeah.
the miss on
Well,
DJ
and Cairo
Moore that should have
Santos
been a
sucks, but
touchdown.
yes.
No, yeah, but Caleb, if he had just made some passes, you wouldn't even needed to even count on Cairo Santos to win you that game. So I mean,
Yeah,
like
but he
it.
missed a field goal in that game,
No,
which
I
they
understand.
lost by 3. Yeah,
No,
but
I get you, but Caleb was a bigger detriment in that game, and he's, as we just talked for an hour and a half about, the improvements are there and they're tangible in terms of what Caleb Williams has been doing. Caleb Williams this Sunday is a very different Caleb Williams than the one you saw week 1 against this Vikings team. So I expect him to outperform JJ McCarthy. I expect him to really take advantage of this secondary, and yeah, I think this because again, all the people that have been saying you need to see this from Caleb, you need to see this from Caleb. I need to see him do it against a good defense. I need to see him do it on time and within structure and working within the offense. This is the week for that to happen. That's the next step in the progression. If Caleb can do that, the Bears win this game. If he can't, he makes it a lot harder on them, and maybe they don't. Kyle's some frustrated Vikings fan chiming in here. We're losing because KOC gets away from the run too soon, even when we're fucking winning. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know because the Bears are not very good against the run. I kind of hope KOC gets away from that. I would much rather this game, if the Vikings are going to win it, I would much rather they have to do it behind JJ McCarthy's arm than anything else. I really would, because I think the
just
chances
because
of
that'll
some
be much more
good shit
fair.
happen for the defense, yes, is good. Dante says thanks for the membership, Purple Jesus. And create culture. I've never seen this one before, or have I? And I'm just blanking.
No, what's going on? Thanks
Thank
for
you for
joining
being
us,
here, man. We
Culture.
appreciate you. Yeah, new members of the chat always get the applause. Checking in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you like good content, like to have good conversation. We are here for it. He says we are what he or she. I don't want to just assume we are watching the birth. We have been of a great team.
Yeah, we said this
Yep.
earlier. Dustin said he was early stages. What would you say? Infancy.
Yeah, we're in the infancy of this process. So enjoy it. Enjoy this process.
It's
And I
just a
think
complex. It's just a clump of cells.
does it even count as an actual football team? If Dart would have stayed in, we lose that game. Yeah, and that's why I said knock them the fuck out, and that's exactly what the Bears
Is
did.
this a viable football team? All right, Dustin. What do you got this game, man? What are you scoring this game at?
Oh, we're already there. Nothing else. No other keys to the game. No other big
I was going to say
predictions.
run the football,
Luther-
but this team's really good at defending the run, man. It's gonna be tough to run.
So the Vikings against 4.2 yards per rush.
That's low.
Opponents rush 29.9. That's really high. Rush yards per game they allow is 125.6, 22nd in the league. There's something to be gotten there, Brandon. I think they can be exposed in that run game.
I think that they've been better late though.
Listen, I do not put it past Ben Johnson to want to lean heavily on that run and then
He's going to do his 50-50
yeah,
split.
and then go to the play action.
50-50.
Yep, and then go to the play action to really take advantage of the deep ball against the team that can be gotten with that. So I mean, that's probably the recipe, right? You establish Monungai and Swift, and then you let Caleb hit him with the play action and get it to Burden over the top, man. I see Luther Burden catching a touchdown in this game. I see Colston Loveland. I said it last week, man. Don't just jump off the Colston Loveland train because he's going to be blocking a whole lot. And that's what happened in that game. They needed him in pass protection. And guess what? They're going to need the tight ends in pass protection again this week. That's going to be an important thing to watch as well. Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland helping out in pass protection. But can Colston Loveland, after staying in to pass block for a few times, sneak out there and Caleb hit him real quick and have a lot of room to run? I want to see Colston Loveland with the opportunity after the catch.
I don't think it matters anymore, Dustin, what defense they play. As long as the opportunity is given, I think his trajectory is just going to keep going the way it's going. Colston Loveland's about to start being a pretty big part of this offense.
Purple adding some context says we got killed against the run when Van Ginkel and Cashman were out. When they've been in running against the Vikings, it hasn't worked out so well. It's been the Vikings shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
and that's your quarterback, man.
They've been better against the run. They have. I know that. I know that teams have been struggling a little bit to run the ball against them.
I love the positive vibes that create culture is bringing. Difference with this coach, with the players. New players are having these positive experiences with plays that work. Yeah, they're putting players in positions to succeed. Again, I think you can see
And
Monangai
they
having
trust their quarterback.
yeah,
That's
yeah, and you just got to let him make the plays. I think in this game, Brandon. I think you got to let him loose and let Caleb be Caleb again. I think that that's really what's going to work. But if you can get him to play within structure, that's where you're going to hit the deep plays, as we've pointed out, and that's going to be an important aspect of this game and the Bears winning it. Can Caleb be consistent? Can Caleb be accurate for an entire 4 quarters of a football game? That's going to say a lot in terms of who's winning this game on Sunday because I I really don't believe that JJ McCarthy can. I really don't. So if you get some turnovers, you got to capitalize on them. You got to be able to score on offense. You can't be settling for field goals against this team because this Vikings offense can make big plays. If you remember when it felt like the Bears were taking control of that game week 1, JJ McCarthy caught fire in the second half and just started making big plays down the field and really taking advantage of this secondary without Jalen Johnson, man. And that became the difference in the game. And JJ McCarthy won fucking NFC Offensive Player of the Week because of one good second half against this Bears secondary, but he lit them up in that second half. He did.
Yeah, we know Caleb's capable of it. And Dustin, I do want to say, okay, so like, I'm gonna get to my score prediction because I want to say this, which it'll reflect why I feel the way I do. I do think this is gonna be a tough game. These divisional games in the North always are. I think this is gonna be one of the games I keep talking about. I think the Bears are gonna find themselves in a one-score game again, and I'm just not betting against Caleb Williams moving forward in that situation. He's been better than anybody in the league. He just showed the numbers. He has 4 game-winning drives by metrics, and then not like the way I interpret it. I mean, like they considered 4 of the games game-winning drives for a second-year quarterback. He is going to outplay JJ McCarthy, and he's going to do it when it matters most. And I do think both these teams are able to score a little bit. I'm going to say this game goes, say it goes 24-21.
24-21 Bears.
Yeah.
Is that a game-winning field goal as time expires, or is that the Bears holding off this offense? What do you think?
No, I'm going to say field goal. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bears got to have the ball in their hands on the last play. I've been saying, listen, this team is going to frustrate you. And it seems like Kyle feels that same way about the Vikings. When you hear him talking about with the comments he's putting in here, like frustration with coaching decisions, frustration with penalties. There's going to be frustration for both sides in this game, I think, on Sunday throughout. You're going to see some missed opportunities. It's going to be who capitalizes on the most opportunities because I think both quarterbacks are going to miss. Both teams are going to miss. You're going to have some mistakes shooting yourself in the foot. This Bears team is going to be wildly frustrating in that regard all year, Brandon. So, yeah, I think them having the ball in their hands when last is going to be the difference in this game. It seems to be what they have to rely on. And this Vikings team is good. As much as we were saying we're not the biggest fans of McCarthy, this is a good football team with talented players on it, and they're well coached. But one key to the game, man, that we didn't really touch on, penalties per play, 0.07 for the Bears, 0.07 for the Vikings. They are 2 of the worst in the league. Penalties per game, 8.2 for the Bears, 8.3 for the Vikings, 29th and 31st, respectively. Penalty yards per game for the Bears, 66
points in between them.
I don't know. It's like 8.25. I don't know.
Yeah.
Penalty. Maybe they just randomly assigned it. Penalty yards per game, Bears 66.8. Penalty yards per game for the Vikings, 65.7, 29th and 28th.
Jesus.
And penalty yards per penalty,
Identical.
8.1 for the Bears, 7.9 for the Vikings. So who wins that? Who wins that battle? Who's more disciplined? Who executes better? Who limits the penalties?
Last week,
that's going to have a huge say in this game.
It improved last week.
The frustration only occurs for me between noon and 3 on Sundays. Otherwise, I really don't care. I'm just telling you this. I leave it all at the bank on Sundays. No, then that's the good way to approach it. And that's how I'm approaching it with this team as well, because the frustration can also be fun. And you're in a similar position, man. You're watching a young quarterback trying to figure shit out with a good offensive mind head coach. It's very similar in that regard. So we're going to see who grows more on Sunday between Caleb and JJ McCarthy. I mean, the reality is week 1, JJ McCarthy outplayed Caleb Williams. That cannot happen 2 times in one season against this Vikings team against JJ McCarthy.
Well, he's a
Caleb
rookie, yeah.
Caleb has to be better than JJ on Sunday for the Bears to win this game. And yeah, I agree with you, Brandon. I think the Bears got to have the ball in their hands last. As tough as both of these defenses have had it this year, man. Again, I'm seeing another close one and another somewhat high scoring game. Bears 28, Vikings 27. Like down to the wire, everything you want out of this game in terms of the ups and the downs. Just be ready for it, Bears fans. This team is going to drive you crazy for
Okay, you'll probably text one of
for
your friends
60
at some
minutes.
point. Oh, they lost.
Yeah, Nick, they only had 3 offensive penalties this past week. They definitely cleaned that up so they can continue to do that going on the road in a hostile environment. That's the difference, right? They were at home on Sunday against a team that's nowhere near as good as this Vikings team. So, and the fact that Brian Flores does so much to disguise things and try to trick you out before the play even happens, that can lead to more false starts. That can lead to more pre-snap penalties that you don't want to see if you're the Bears. If you start seeing those and you get behind the sticks, you're fucking done, man. That's the one frustration I cannot deal with on Sunday. The Bears got to clean that up.
Yep, no negative plays.
Yep. Stay ahead of the sticks if you're Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Razzle says, I'll let y'all run wild this season, bro. Please don't jump in Lake Michigan. Not even for the polar plunge, huh? I mean, listen, ain't nobody run wild. This team is going to be maddening for
and
Bears
I understand
fans.
Razzle,
Just enjoy it.
At what point they're 6-3? At what point? I mean,
Yeah, well, you can have some good vibes. It's okay.
I'm not saying drink the Kool-Aid, but like, you do have to give credit where it's due.
Yeah, man, you do, and at the same time, the fact that the Bears have won these games in incredible fashion should not mask or cover up the fact that they've been really bad in a lot of areas. There are major areas of improvement that still need to happen for this team. Yeah, no, it's going to be what it is all season. That's why I keep saying this is what we're going to experience all season. And I think it's okay to be okay with that if you're a Bears fan. Just enjoy this, man. Just enjoy what you're seeing. Enjoy the ups and downs. Enjoy this and seeing this team grow and develop and figure out who they are, because they still don't know who they are. And Ben Johnson keeps saying they're going to be playing their best football in December. I hope that's the case, but I still think it's going to be ugly even in there. I really do. It's just this team is who they are. They can maybe get some guys back. If Kyler Gordon comes back, Jalen Johnson maybe comes back towards the end of the season, you can see some improvements, But at the end of the day, this team is who they are. Caleb is who he is. We're going to have to live and die with that for the rest of the season. And hopefully it ends in a playoff berth. But that starts, man, this Sunday. You got to beat a divisional opponent. You can't go to 0-3 in the NFC North. You got to really, establish yourself as one of those playoff contending teams. Go to 7-3 and move on to next week. You know what I'm saying? But you got to get a divisional win this week, Brandon. You cannot go to 0-3.
Yeah, you can get one more of these wins on the road before you go back home for Pittsburgh, man, and then you hit the gauntlet.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Pittsburgh, depending on the week, could look like one of the better teams in the NFL, and they could look like the worst team in the NFL.
You'll probably feel much better about that game at home,
He says he's fucking with us. Razzle's always coming in. Yeah, we love you, Razzle. We've always appreciated you, and we appreciate your cautious optimism.
If you knew me and Dustin well, Razzle, you would know that we're very much the same as you.
Yep.
Every year I find myself telling people to just chill the fuck out.
Create culture.
Not even with the Bears, with every team in Chicago. Yep. Every year. I know people who think every team every year is going to win a championship. It's just like...
Yeah, the Bulls were the best team in the East for a fucking week.
And it's
we're starting to see that
the Cubs are a World Series team. I mean, if every year somebody's drinking the Kool-Aid, and me and Dustin are always the guys to tell people, like, let's just look at things realistically. So,
and realistically, create culture. How about Theo Benedette? He says. I mean, I don't know if you're saying there's exclamation points there. It's not a question mark. So it's like, are you excited about Theo Benedette? Yeah. We talk about Theo every week. It seems like I don't really want to do it again. It's the biggest concern on the offensive line in terms of pass protection.
Concern on the offense.
You got to give him help with the tight ends this week again, and that's okay. Caleb needs to be Houdini in the pocket again because there will be multiple times in this game that Benedette is chasing his guy towards Caleb Williams. That's just going to happen. And yeah, it is what it is. The Bears got to be prepared for it. Benedette is performing admirably for what he is and who he is. He's worked his ass off. I'll keep saying it, but we need better. We need better at left tackle.
Paying very little money for starting left tackle, so got that going for you.
Growth and consistency is all I want. If you get that, the wins will come. Yes, that's where I'm at, man. I just want to see it continue to get a little better every week. Continue to be competitive. This team don't quit. This team has grit. This team has, culture that it hasn't had. There's a lot of positives to take away, but let's not get over our skis and expect that this team should be competing for something more than a wild card berth. If they can even get that, I will be shocked, man, and I'll be pleasantly surprised based on what I thought going into the season.
Overachievement.
Fuck yeah, would, because they're overachieving right now. So like I'm starting to entertain that a little bit, given that they've won some games they should not have won, and that's really flipped the wins in their favor to where you just need to get 4 more. You're right there in the thick of it, man.
I mean, the Bears are tied for first place in their division right now, so this is going better than.
Purple Jesus threw a score prediction?
Should have anticipated.
Kyle, can you throw your real score out there, please? Vikings 52, Bears 2. That safety is going to piss me the fuck off.
JJ McCarthy's putting up 52 points, huh?
Yep. That's what he thinks, apparently. I would like to say, Purple Jesus, go fuck yourself. We love you, Kyle. I know you don't think that's going to be the actual score. I thought you put something more
He for sure thinks the Vikings are going to win, but that's not the score he's thinking.
Yeah. And that's okay because you should. 28-24 Vikings. Yeah, I got 28-27 Bears. I really do believe that whatever team has the ball last in this game is going to be the team that becomes the victor. We'll see how it goes, man. And Razzle just throwing me a compliment, so I got to show that. Well said, Dustin. I don't remember what I said, but thank you, Razzle. We appreciate you. Create Culture has 17-13 Bears. He's got a low-scoring game in the dome, man. With these offenses, the weapons that are out there, I think you're going to see a little more scoring, especially considering how bad this Bears defense is.
Say that the defenses are not. They're not hanging their hat on that, man.
Nope. So, any other takeaways or key points for this game? I got a Luther Burden touchdown. I think Austin Booker gets a sack. I hope JJ McCarthy gets injured. I mean, I don't want him playing over Carson Wentz or whoever their backup quarterback is.
I think Justin Jefferson's gonna have a big day. I think Montez Sweat is gonna get a sack.
Nick thinks so too.
I think this is gonna look pretty comparable to the way it's looked.
Yeah, just be prepared to be frustrated and excited and up and down the entire game. I'm honestly just starting to have a lot of fun with it, man. I'm going to work 4 o'clock just so I can have time to finish the game, but it's like
I'm going to work in like 5 hours.
I gotta wake up with the baby. I don't have time to even like come down from these games. Like when these last 2 weeks have been crazy. I've been kind of going to work with my head spinning a little bit, and I expect that to be the case again on Sunday, man. Yeah. I just want to share this. Monday, I'm getting snipped. I don't know if I'm going to play hurt. I'm getting snipped on Monday. I've had 4 kids biologically, and I got a step kid. And I got 5 kids. I've done enough to help the population crisis that this world is dealing with, and you guys all should do more. But if you haven't already, but might see me on Monday, might not. Depends on how my balls feel. To be honest, I've never had a vasectomy before, so I don't know how it's gonna go.
This is my first. So.
It's my first vasectomy. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll see me on Monday. Maybe you won't.
Hopefully you're only.
Someone may have turned 44 today. Purple Jesus is off because it's his birthday.
You'll be the person that has a child after he gets snipped.
Yeah, my semen is so strong, dude. It's so strong.
Happy birthday, Kyle.
My shit swims. Yeah, happy birthday, Purple Jesus, Kyle. We appreciate you, man. I'm glad you get to take some time off.
Kyle, we do the last couple of weeks we've been doing a Sunday show before the game kicks off. We'll probably do that. I'm guessing Sean will put that together if you are interested in chatting about this football game if you're available Sunday morning.
Okay, I'll do this one for Purple Jesus' birthday. He's
certified badass.
He's turning 29.
Certified badass.
There you go, Kyle. I didn't want to do the applause because Shannon says, "Oh my God, what the fuck is that to Kyle's birthday or my vasectomy?" He's like, "What the fuck, Kyle? You didn't tell me it was your birthday."
And about that vasectomy, good luck.
I thank you. I appreciate it. It's well deserved. It's well earned, and yeah.
You deserve that, man.
I'll be downtown before the game, but I have my phone on me, so shoot me an email if you want. Nice.
Right. Yeah.
Listen,
we usually do the 10 o'clock. Lasts about half an hour.
Kyle, we love you, but we wish you nothing but a bad fucking Sunday. I'm sorry, it's your birthday weekend and all. The Bears are gonna have to spoil it for you. That's just the way it's got to be.
Yeah, Caleb's got to
I don't control these things, man. It just is what it is. Man.
Caleb Williams got a victory ball wrapped up for you.
How many vasectomies have you had, Purple Jesus? How do you know this?
Huh?
It says you'll be back up on your feet in a day or two. Oh yeah,
So
and I do this
for
Monday
night.
I'm not stand up doing this, man. I'm gonna try to play hurt, man. You know, the best ability is availability.
Sometimes he doesn't have pants, but he does sit down.
Yeah, no, it gets hot in here, man. It gets hot in here. I'm gonna have a bag of frozen peas on my balls if I'm in here on Monday. He's had 4 bad Sundays at home already. Kyle is not digging the prediction that the Bears are gonna ruin his birthday weekend. Yeah. Shannon, how many kids you got? How many baby mamas you got? I got 2. Oh, it's not that serious, man. Okay, so Purple Jesus has had 0 vasectomies, just so everybody knows, but he's got a lot of friends. You don't have your balls cut off, Purple Jesus. I'm not getting fucking neutered.
He's getting castrated.
No kids.
It's like a bowl. Just gonna put a rubber band on you for a fucking few hours.
Shannon has no kids. Oh well, get on that, man. We're fucking facing a crisis here.
Dustin's giving some away.
No. Bro, and I'll say this too. I'll just say this since I'm fucking slap happy and we're at 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it. Fuck it. Never mind. Sorry. Brandon, you got anything you want to share?
Nothing about my balls.
Well, that's what the people come for on the bare minimum.
No, but like I said, man, we should be back on Sunday. I think tune in for that, guys, because we're kind of crushing it on our pregame shows on like how these games have resulted based on what.
Yeah, I basically exactly nailed it. I called the Rome touchdown.
The Giants game, you crushed, and I hit that.
Yeah,
Bengals. I said that Ben Johnson or Colson Loveland's going to shut the world up today about why he was drafted where he was, and he went off. Yeah,
and then I bought a shirt. Hopefully on Sunday when I'm on here or Monday, I'll have my Colston Loveland shirt on. I'm excited about that shirt. This is a funny joke. His wife doesn't think it's funny, but I think it's funny. He says, my wife asked me if I'll get a vasectomy. I tell her, what if my second wife wants kids? Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm like here with this, because I'm like, I wasn't married, but like, yeah. This is my wife. This is gonna be my forever wife, and like we did it. Like
this is my permanent one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with this one.
So like it's fine, and like shit, I really don't. I'm good. Like I'm at peace with this decision, as weird as it is, and I just hope all goes well.
So yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. Dustin's vasectomy on Monday morning, guys. You don't want to watch that Monday night show.
Make sure you're there. You can see how it went. See how I'm doing. So Bears win on Sunday.
Balls. He'll pull through.
I got to do something about these balls. So it's long overdue. She doesn't think that joke's funny. It makes me laugh, and I'm not a professional comedian, so I only need to make myself laugh. Yep.
Just hanging around.
You made us laugh, Kyle. This has been a fun show, man. Bears are going to get the dub. I got 28-27 Sunday. Brandon's got 24-21, right? That's what you
Yeah.
said. Brandon, I'm proud of you tonight because, like, you didn't say, I think the Bears are going to kick the shit out of the Vikings 24-21. Like, it's not even going to be a close game, but it'll be 24-21. And then change your score. You didn't change your score either. You're getting better at this, man. Good job.
Yeah. I'm better when I'm tired.
Oh, skull fuck yourself. How about skull fuck yourself? There. Hey guys, this has been a lot of fun. Bear down. Come back with us on Sunday pregame show, and we'll be here Monday for a Victory Monday Hallis Hall hangover. All the
Bear
best.
down.
We love y'all. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out if you haven't already. Peace.